Okay, looks like we've got YouTube up. We've got the TikTok rolling. Oh, yeah, you're extremely early. You're first. Hey, 3 pips. Thank you. I'm very glad you got all your pips back. But yeah, hoping that we can have some good conversations. Doing a hey, thanks Hercules. Um, hoping that we can have some good conversations this evening. Don't typically do Fridays, but hey, may as well. I have no idea how long I'll go. Maybe I'll want to stop and go watch a movie or something. But who made me? My parents made me. Just like your parents made you. Hello. Oh, well, since Apple user 342333989 says I'm wrong, I guess I better change my positions. I haven't done anything yet, Angry Antitheist, but thanks for being here. No, I was thinking about going out to see the Odyssey. Huh? Huh? That could be cool. I have no idea if it's going to be any good, but it certainly could be. Oh, this is like cranked. Oh, we'll see how that goes. No, I'm not. There's actually no IMAX theater around here. I'd have to drive over an hour to get to one, I think. I don't think there are any closer than that. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some folks who are adults that actually have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Oh, thanks for the early follow. Um, oh, why is that so weird? Is it just for me? Oh, I don't like that at all. Yeah, arguments and evidence would be great. I tried to fix some of the stickers to get rid of the backgrounds, and now it seems like I just made them more weird. So maybe I need to go back to the old ones. Whoops. What do you do? Oh, see, those ones are good. Yeah, see, I like those ones. It looks like it's the God isn't real, prove me wrong one that I don't like. No, Evan sakes. I did not. Um, but fortunately, we don't get a lot of them sent. Uh, and I'm not big enough for people to really care about what I'm doing. Like, I'm not like a big creator. I'm not a big streamer or anything. Um, I have less than 5,000 followers, so I'm a nobody. Obviously, it's a bigger deal for people like, Ian or Justin or whoever who people care more about. Don't call me influencer. I'm not an influencer. I will never. uh, Somebody called me a content creator and I almost cried. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. And we will see if we can get started on a good foot with Andre. Hey, thanks, Snakes. Hi, Andre. How old are you?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to request.
Oh, okay. We'll have a good one. I mean, I don't know how you request without meaning to when it's whatever. Stranger things have happened. But yeah, hopefully we will have good conversations. Oh, well, I guess Lucas didn't really want to talk. But yeah, I'm just looking to speak with folks who are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Yeah, well, the devil doesn't exist, so the devil doesn't believe anything. Thanks, Paleo. Is that person not joining? What's going on? Nobody wants to actually have a debate tonight? Friday night's not the nights for debates, apparently. Hi, Rob. How old are you?
46.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I don't follow religious. I'm not a religious person.
Yeah, I'm not asking about religion.
Well, here's the thing. Agar, I would like to pose it this way to you, man. If I ask you to guess a number from 1 to a billion.
Well, I'm just asking what God you believe in. I'm not going to move on until you answer that question. If you don't believe in a God, then there's nothing for us to talk about.
Well, I'm getting to the part where I do. But I just
no, we're not going to get to the part. I'm going to ask one more time. If you don't give me a direct, unambiguous answer, I'm just going to drop you.
Yes.
So, what God do you believe in?
Again, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, what are the properties of
what are the? I'm trying to have a conversation, man.
Yeah, what are the properties of the God you believe in?
What's wrong with people? Just can't socialize no more.
Yeah, I know. You come into a debate live, and then the guy wants to debate. It's fucking crazy. So one last time, what are the properties of the God you believe in?
That it's a God. That's the properties of him.
Okay, it's like an immaterial mind that created the universe, something like that.
Again, if I could have a talk.
All right, fair enough. Have a good one. Don't come back. Yeah, here's the thing. This is a debate live. If you can't take a position, if you won't hold a position, if you won't, stake a claim to some position or other, we can't have a debate. Sorry, just doing some maintenance stuff. Getting YouTube set up because I always forget. But yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi,
we
Vader.
Don't give a fuck.
Okay.
We don't care that you don't believe in God, bro.
That's fine. What God do you believe in?
Is, bro.
Yeah, do you want to have the debate, or are you too pussy?
Bro, we don't give a fuck. Like, you're fucking
too much of a little bitch.
Bro. No one cares, bro. You're just rage baiting people on the fucking live.
Yeah. Oh yeah, unlike you, for sure. Bro, but what you're saying is that you thought you thought it would be a good idea to come up in front of hundreds of people and show everybody that you're a little bitch. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, I mean, if you got like a humiliation kink where you want to come up here and show everybody what a little bitch you are, no problem. I mean, hey, you can do that anytime. Not really, but. Yeah, if you're in the guest queue, make sure you're an adult and have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Abdi. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do. But okay. I would first like to start off that the burden of proof, Alice, is on you because there is no proof.
I don't really care. I'm asking questions here. What God do you believe in?
I believe in Allah.
Fantastic. Islam. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Yes, I don't believe it's morally possible to be. I don't think it's possible to be morally just without religion, and it's also historically the most probable religion.
Okay, well, we can only talk about one argument at a time. So, which argument for God do you want to discuss?
Morality. It's impossible to be moral without a religion.
Okay. I mean, why would that be the case? Why should anybody believe you?
Yes, because I don't believe you can be logically consistent.
Right, that's just restating the claim. So what's the demonstration that the claim is correct?
Yeah. Would you be able to let me speak to
no. Finish? When I'm asking you to support a claim and all you do is repeat the claim, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to interrupt you and remind you that you're supposed to be supporting the claim, not repeating it.
Yes, I am going to support it if you let me finish. So let me just ask you, do you support homosexuality?
So if you do anything other than support the claim, you're going to get cut off again, and I'm just going to redirect you to the actual topic that we're discussing. What's the reason why it's not possible to be moral without religion?
Yes, can I state my argument? So do you?
Yeah, you can actually give the argument. If you're asking me questions, you're fucking up because that's not giving an argument. So one last time, and if you don't answer with the argument, everybody will know that means that you don't have one. So what's the argument that you can't be moral without religion?
Okay, so for example, there is no actual logical definition or something logical going against incense if we go purely off
yeah, that's just a claim. That's just a claim. So you're just making claims again, Abdi. No, so stop. You need to calm down. If the next thing that you say is just making another claim, then we all know that you don't actually have an argument for your position. You just have a bunch of claims. So I'm going to ask, this is literally going to be the last time. This is your last opportunity to show everybody that you actually have an argument. What would you say is the argument that we can't be moral without religion?
What do you define as an argument?
Okay, fair enough. Hey, I mean, thanks for at least being honest. I know you didn't have the balls to admit it outright that you don't have an argument, but, you know, you showed everybody. So again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. See if the next person can connect. Hi, Stray. How old are you?
58. Again, you want everybody to prove their claim. Prove your claim, asswipe.
What God do you believe in?
Prove your claim, asswipe.
Okay, well, I ask everybody the same questions, and if you can't answer, then I'm just going to move on. What God do you believe in?
You can't prove your claim.
All right.
Prove your claim, asswipe.
Okay, well, if you want to have the conversation, you got to answer the question.
You coward.
So one last opportunity. What God do you believe in?
Little finger pointer.
All right, fair enough.
Asswipe, prove your...
I would have been happy to provide an argument, but if you can't, you know, even engage to the most basic degree, I don't know what you want me to do. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, no. How old are you?
Hello, God.
Hi.
32.
32, okay. And what God do you believe in?
The only true living God, Jesus Christ.
Fair enough. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
It's very simple. It's God's word, the Gospels.
Okay, how do you know that the Gospels are God's word?
Because it's impossible that people without the Holy Spirit can write it. So it was God.
Yeah, how did you demonstrate that it wouldn't be possible to write without the Holy Spirit?
It's written in. When you read it, then you know it. It's not an author.
Sure, I've read through the Gospels. I didn't know it, so clearly that didn't work. So how do we determine that the Gospels are the Word of God?
Okay, then you have to understand Jesus knows your heart. So when you read the Gospels with skeptical heart,
hello, hey, hold on a second. So what you're doing right now is making more claims. But I don't want you to make more claims. We've already got a claim on the table, and I love it. It's the exact kind of claim that I want to have a debate about. The problem is that you're not supporting the claim. You have to support the claim in order for us to move the conversation forward. So what is the support for the claim that the Gospels are the Word of God?
Because it's the only living knowledge we have on this earth.
Right, that's just restating the claim again. Now, I know that you actually have an argument for your position and that you can support the claim, but I'm worried that the audience might think that you don't have an argument since I've asked you the question a bunch of times and you refuse to answer it. So just to make sure that everybody in the audience knows what you and I know, that you do actually have an argument, I'm going to ask one more time. And then if you answer with anything other than the argument for your position, well, then I'm going to have to join the audience and we're all going to think that you don't have an argument and I'll just move on. So what's the argument that the Gospels are the Word of God?
It is the Word of God, bro. So why Jesus revealed to myself?
Okay, fair enough. So all you've got is just the claim, and you're just going to state it over and over again?
If you don't open your heart to read the Gospel.
Fair enough. I don't really want the preaching. I was hoping that you did actually have an argument, but clearly not. Oh, yay, we've got bots back again. That's fun. Hey, thanks everybody for the support. You guys fucking rule. 3 Pips, Hercules, Lupine, Saintly, Hercules, Lupine, Radio Spencer, Lupine, Goblin Brain, Bally Ball, that sounds like fun. Ayakabina, Jay Mist, thank you, Lizbiz. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it so much. If you're in the guest queue, or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Chachi. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Well, the universe to begin exist supported nigger, you're a bitch, nigger, you're bald,
yeah,
nigger,
that's
nigger,
about the
nigger,
best
nigger.
that the Christians have, unfortunately. But if you are... Oh, you know what I need to do real quick? Let's grab one of these and then one of those. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, absolutely that was disgraceful. You know, people want to come up here in front of hundreds of people and basically show that they're pieces of shit, right? I don't understand it, but whatever. Well, if you have to ask a question like that, then guess what happens? If someone comes up here spewing slurs, have I ever lost a debate? I don't really think about debates in terms of winning or losing, so I don't know. Also, I don't think that I'm a good judge of that, right? I don't think that I'm the person that you should ask about whether or not I've lost a debate. I think you would have to ask people who have watched my debates and see what they think. I don't know. But if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult, that you believe in a God, and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Okay. Hi, Colin. How old are you?
Oops, I did not mean to do this. My bad.
Oh, no problem. Have a good one. To get in the guest queue, you hit the request button. Hi, Ben. How old are you?
Yo, I'm 22.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes. On this argument, I say I will. I kind of do, but I think I have a decent argument.
Okay. Which God are you arguing for?
I'm not arguing for any specific God. I'm arguing that there is some sort of creator.
Sure, like an immaterial mind that created the universe?
Right.
Okay. What would you say is the best argument or evidence?
Well, I'd say a good argument would be I forgot what the theory is called, but it's basically the never-ending something needs something to support it. So just like the tree needs, the soil, or like everything needs something. So in that, there has to be probably something that doesn't need anything to start that chain reaction, if that makes sense.
Why is that?
Well, I think, and even scientists would probably tell you this as well, at least in the human mind, you kind of would have to go somewhere else to a different logical conclusion, because I feel like something can't come from nothing.
Okay, but nobody's proposing that well, I shouldn't say nobody. The only people proposing that something came from nothing are people who believe in God and think that God made the universe out of nothing. But those are the only people who believe something came from nothing. So if you don't think that something can come from nothing, then that's a good reason not to believe in God, because believing in God is the only position where you would have to believe that.
No, right. Well, what I believe
so in fact, do you understand what I'm saying, though? That thinking something can't come from nothing is actually a reason to not believe in God?
Right. Well, here's what I would say to that.
Do you understand that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
sorry,
so I just need you to
disrespectful.
I'm just trying to I'm trying to be linear here.
I understand that.
Okay, so I just need you. So you understand that if you think something can't come from nothing, the only view that bars you from is God, right?
Right.
Okay, fantastic. So what's an actual reason to believe in God?
Well, here's where I would disagree with that, because people who do believe in God and Christianity, or even any God in general, will tell you it's outside of space and time. So I get that from your point of view.
What are you talking about? We're talking. What did God make the universe out of?
No, I'm saying he exists outside of.
No,
time.
what did he make the universe out of? Like if a carpenter makes a table, they make it out of wood, right? They have existing material that they reform into a table, right? So they have existing material and they make a table out of it. Okay, what was the existing material that God made the universe out of?
Nobody knows the answers to that question, and anyone who does think they know the answer.
Okay, but do you understand? Do you understand that if there was
I don't believe in a God per se. I believe that something had to create all of this.
Okay. I'm trying to actually engage with the points that you're making, but every time I do, all you do is talk over me and ignore what I say. So do you actually want to have the conversation, or should I just move on to the next person?
Well, okay. No, well, yeah, no, you're good. Keep going. Sorry.
Do you want to actually hear the responses to what you're saying?
I heard your response.
What was my response?
You said a carpenter has to make things out of wood. What did God make the world out of, right? Is that what you're saying?
What did God make the universe out of?
Right. But I already told you coming into this, I don't believe in a god as far
All
as
right,
a religious
fair enough.
god.
I mean, if you're just going to use that as a crutch every time you get backed into
It's
a
not a
corner
crutch,
because
what
you
do you mean?
can't support your position, then there's no reason to talk to you. If you're going to be consistent and say like, hey, I'm not 100% sure, but here's a position I think I can support, then you can't run away from that position every time you get pushed back. Hey, thank you. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Xenomorph shirts, actually. I fucking love the dragon. Thank you. I don't even know who fucking said that, Casey. Oh, of course it was Casey. Thank you so much. That's fucking awesome. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a god. Okay. Hi, Donovan. How old are you?
We are Charlie.
Still not singing from the diaphragm. You got to work on that. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult who believes in God and has some kind of argument or evidence for God. Even Seasons just makes me think of Even Stevens, which makes me think of that, not Shia LaBeouf. What was that? Oh, now I feel terrible. All right. Hi, Ash. How old are you?
18.
What God do you believe in?
I'm going to follow off what old mate said. I don't believe in a specific God, but I believe in a greater creator.
What is happening? Yeah, of course, I'm getting restrictions because of the person screaming obscenities earlier. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? You're saying that you don't believe in a particular God, but you believe in like a theistic God?
Yeah, like a greater creator.
Is it like an immaterial mind that created and sustains the universe? Something like that?
Yeah, along the lines of that. Like, nothing in particular, but yeah, along the lines of that. I've got a question, okay? Can you, in your mind, how do you view existence? Like, if you were to give me a definition of existence, what would you say existence is?
I think that's pretty brute. I don't know that I could really give you much more other than... I don't think I can give you anything other than synonyms. Like,
okay, so...
things that exist are real. Things that are real are actual. They have being.
Okay. Do you believe that existence, for there to be existence, there has to be a beginning and an end?
No.
No. Can you explain why?
I don't have a reason to think that that's the case. So I'm not going to take a position. Okay. It's the same thing as if you asked me, do you think for things to exist, it has to be infinite without beginning and end? I would also say no to that. I don't have a reason to think that either must be the case.
Okay, so if I was to ask you that...
Well, don't ask me what would happen if you asked me something. If there's something to ask me, just ask me it.
Okay. The other guy said that, how did something come from nothingness?
Mm-hmm. And I don't believe something came from nothing, so that's a ridiculous question to ask me.
Okay, so then we move through time. Do you believe that...
I don't think that we move through time. I don't think that that's an accurate description of how time works.
How does time work then?
Existence progresses, and we call that change time.
Okay, so for existence to progress, there had to be a point where it began.
No.
Because you cannot move forward unless you have a starting point.
No.
Even if
there's no reason to think... You need to demonstrate that's the case.
Okay, if you had a loop, right, and you were constantly, endlessly going around the circle in a loop forever, for infinity, there was a point where that loop began. You didn't just start going around the loop. No matter where...
No, now you're just contradicting yourself. If you've been going forever, then you didn't begin. To try to put a beginning on it is to contradict the example you're giving.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, I got nothing then.
Okay, well, I appreciate the conversation. Have a good one. Yeah, I think that's typically what happens with infinity stuff. Right? They say, well, it can't be infinite because where would you start from? It's like, well, okay. I mean, if we're saying it's infinite into the past, there is no start. Like, if you want to argue against an infinite past, that's fine. But, you have to stay consistent and don't contradict yourself. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Thanks for the support, Liz Biz. That's awesome. Okay. Host is low tier. 100%. I could not agree with you more. I absolutely 100% agree with that. Oh, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah, absolutely low tier. Yeah, no questions. No questions for me, or no argument for me. Okay, we'll bring up the next person. ID, how old are you?
I am 46.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
So I believe in the typical Judeo-Christian God, but maybe a little slightly different spin on it.
I don't really know what Judeo-Christian means, since the Jewish God and the Christian God are contradictory.
Your typical Christian God.
Christian.
God,
okay.
The God of the Bible, yeah.
Okay, and so what would
Jewish versus and Christian, same God, and
well, I
really,
mean,
honestly, it's the same God that the Muslims believe in too.
Yeah, they're all three different, but that's not really important. What would you say is the best argument or evidence for God?
So when my view of God, right, is absolutely eternal God, but I believe that God is the consciousness of energy.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want you to tell me the reason to think that God exists, not what God is.
So I think that God exists because everything exists.
I need more than that. That doesn't. I think the things that exist also. I just don't think God is one of those things.
So I believe everything is made of matter. Everything's made of energy. I think at a
okay. So you think? Hold on. So you think that everything that exists is made of matter?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Except for
so that,
photons.
So that means right. So what you're saying is. So what you're saying is that everything that exists is made of matter, except for the things that aren't. Because that's not very informative.
No. Everything that exists that is physical that you can touch is absolutely made of matter.
Yeah, everything that you can touch, you can touch. This is just another tautology. You're not getting us anywhere. Why should we believe in God?
No, hold on. I'm getting there.
No, I don't. Okay, here. Maybe I should have been more clear, D. I don't want you to take a circuitous route to get where you're going. I need you to get there and be there right now, or I'm moving on.
Okay. So I believe that God is a part of any and everything.
Okay, so one more time, D. Don't tell me what you believe about God. Tell me why we should believe God exists. If you talk again about what you believe about God, I'm dropping you. If you say more tautologies about things that, like things that are exist, whatever bullshit like that, I'm dropping you. Okay, what I want is for you to actually give a coherent argument or some piece of evidence that would provide a reason to believe that God actually exists. If you do anything else, I'm just going to take it as a concession and move on.
Well, because God is the creator of everything and everything's here.
Okay, again, that's just you saying what you believe in, not a reason to believe in it. So everybody knows you don't have a way to demonstrate what you believe, and it's time to move on. Okay. Oh, I should have arranged this shit earlier. All right. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Used to do anything but make claims. Okay. Hi, Dorian. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Do you believe in a God?
I'm in the middle of it.
Okay. I mean, what version of God are you in the middle of?
Jesus, or God. A Christian God.
Okay. And what do you think is the best argument or evidence that should make us believe in that God?
Okay, that this is the most, this religion has the most, proof. You know what I mean? It has the most,
Well, even if it has more proof than other religions, they could all be false, right? So we don't want to say, of the religions on offer, which one do we think has the most evidence? We want to say, of the religions on offer, do we have reason to think that any of them are actually true? And that's what I'm concerned with. So is there a reason to think that Christianity is actually true?
Just behind the amount of evidence they have, then I'm not sure, because I'm not.
Well, what evidence?
I'm totally believing in it. Okay, so basically for Noah's Ark.
Well, there isn't any. There is not any evidence of Noah's Ark. The closest anybody has come is Ron Wyatt pretending to have found something in Turkey, but it's been confirmed that the thing that he pointed to is just a natural geologic formation that has nothing to do with a boat. It's not man-made. It has nothing to do with any human intervention whatsoever. I mean, unless you know of some other evidence other than that mountaintop in Turkey.
I was reading on an article, and they were stating, multiple articles, and they were stating that that the Ark had been found.
Yeah, that's the claim from Ron Wyatt. That's supposedly on a mountaintop in Turkey. But again, geologists have examined that mountain and concluded that it's just a natural rock formation. There is no evidence of a boat. There is no evidence of wood. There is no evidence of human anything. It's just a top of a mountain with an interesting geologic formation. So unless you have some specific piece of evidence that points to something other than that Ron Wyatt bullshit.
Wait, I'm trying to get the specific word. The people who basically saw Jesus rose from the dead.
Like witnesses?
The witnesses.
Okay. Where can I read an eyewitness account from one of the witnesses?
They have in every different form of the Bible, they've all said that
No, there are no eyewitness. No, there are stories about Jesus resurrecting in the Bible, but there are no eyewitness accounts in the Bible. So where could I read an account from one of the eyewitnesses?
There's more than one person, and the people who wrote the Bible,
no,
King James.
Dorian. What I'm explaining to you is that the Bible has stories that were written decades and decades after Jesus died. Right? There are no people, none of the people involved. Number one, we don't have any idea who wrote the Bible, or at least the New Testament, rather, especially the Gospels, are all anonymous. The Gospels, so we have no idea who wrote the Gospels. And then all of the stories in the Gospels were not written down until at least 40 to 50 years after Jesus died, and that would have been the earliest one, actually more like 50, if not later than that. Right? So we know, like, imagine that there was somebody who died 50 years ago and no one had ever written down anything about that person. And then for the first time ever, I wrote down a bunch of stories about them. Do you think that you should automatically believe that the stories I write about that person must be true?
Not necessarily, no.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think that we should just automatically trust the Gospels. Right, but that's exactly what the Gospels are. They're just anonymous, and so my story, you actually knew who wrote it, and you weren't willing to believe it. But with the Gospels, we don't even know who wrote it. We don't know why they wrote it. We don't know if they were lying, and if they were, about what. We have no idea, and there's no evidence from the time that Jesus was supposed to have been alive. We have no information directly from him. We have no writings about him by any people who knew him. We have no witness accounts of anything that he did, including the resurrection. So when you say that there's evidence, I just have no idea what that evidence would be.
So you don't deem the witnesses as
what witnesses?
Okay. I don't know what's the name.
No, Dorian. The reason that I'm pushing back on the witness thing is because there are stories about there being witnesses, but we don't have anything saying there were actually witnesses. Like, for example, I can tell you about who I think the creator of the universe is, Eunice, the universe farting unicorn. Well, I have a story that I can tell you about how one time she appeared in front of over 3 million people on top of a mountain and told them about how she's real, she revealed herself, and how she created the universe. And that story is true. So now that you know who's telling you the story, you've heard the details, you have heard the claim that there were millions of witnesses to her revealing herself, do you think that you have reason to believe in Eunice?
I mean, it would sound like a fairy tale to me personally.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You would need some actual evidence from one of the, maybe like if some of the people who were there told you, hey, here's what happened, you probably still wouldn't believe it, but at least that would be better than me seemingly making stuff up. But that's what we have in the Bible. We have people decades and decades after Jesus was supposed to have died claiming that people saw him rise from the dead. We have no evidence that it actually happened. Unless you can tell me about something I'm not aware of.
The Gnostic Bible who was written around at the exact same time that Jesus was
source? What's the evidence for that?
You can find the Gnostic Bible in
no, it's Dorian, it's just not Dorian, the G is silent. It's just Gnostic.
Oh, my bad. Gnostic.
No problem. Just trying to help you out. But that's not true. Okay, so Dorian, the oldest books or the oldest writings that we know of that are in the New Testament were written minimum 40 years after Jesus died. Minimum 40 years. We have nothing from earlier than that.
I thought the Gnostic was because if I'm not mistaken, the Gnostic was made before the first Bible that was written.
Yeah, you're incorrect. You're just mistaken. Unless you can provide me evidence, maybe I'm wrong. I'd be happy to see the evidence.
How would I like? Can you give me a few minutes? I'll rejoin just to like get my things together.
I mean, I guess if you want to come back another time, but I mean, at least you've been good faith. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, if you can find some evidence, I'd be, you are good faith. I'm willing to talk to you again, but I don't think you're going to find anything. But hey, maybe you'll come back and prove me wrong.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think that is pretty typical. We get claims, the Jaspot, the Jafuel, and the Gnostics. MG, you cannot have sex with my mom. Or at least I can't give you permission for that. And if you do have sex with my mom, I don't want to know about it. It's not something I'm really interested in. Well, Brian, I think like you could find scholars who will say that stuff was written as early as like 70-ish, right? Like maybe the 70 or the mid 70s or so. But yeah, the earliest actual copies of anything that we have are definitely from, 100+ years after Jesus died. No question about that. But yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18+ and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Welcome in, Goat Man. Awesome to see you here. Thanks for being here. Okay. Hi, Dot. How old are you?
Hello. I'm 18.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Okay. And then which version of God do you believe in?
Well, I don't. I think there's one version of God, only one.
Well, I know that you only believe in one. I'm just asking which is the one that you believe in of all the ones that people have ever believed in.
Max being a great being. Max being a great being.
Okay, so you aren't a Christian?
No.
Okay, and so you're going to say that Jesus is nobody's savior and he's a dead piece of shit that never saved anybody?
I don't hold to any historical sources.
Yeah, so I just need you to blaspheme Jesus real quick.
I think Jesus is a piece. Well, it depends which Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. So you're a Christian, right?
No, I'm not a Christian.
Okay, so then just go ahead and blaspheme Jesus.
Jesus is a piece of shit.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God?
Well, Holger, I'm here asking you, is it okay if I don't focus maybe on theistic justification, but rather I attack your worldview? Would that be a possibility or no?
I don't know what my worldview has to do with anything, because even if you proved everything that I believe in to be wrong, that doesn't give us a reason to believe in God, and all I'm interested in is whether there's reason to believe in God.
I'm not here arguing for God. I'm arguing here. I'm trying to see if I'm allowed to attack your worldview, for example. If not, then I can...
No, I have no idea why... Oh, well, apparently I have to remove that person. Are they problematic somehow? I don't know. Can I attack your worldview? No, because if you prove my worldview wrong, that has nothing to do with God existing. TikTok made me kick right away. Okay, so yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18+, believe in God, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. I'd actually welcome MOA Obelisk. That could be that could be a fun conversation. For blaspheming a religious figure, you're saying fuck Jesus makes you... Nah. No way. I've called Muhammad a pedophile prophet so many times. Is this the Rhea Ripley? You sound kind of different.
I'm afraid.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18+ and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, MDev. How old are you?
40.
Do you believe in a God?
No, I believe you need to go on a diet, you fat fuck.
Fair enough. Can't really argue with that. No debate here. Hi, Wanderings. How old are you?
I'm pretty old, man.
Okay. You're a Christian, are you not?
Yeah, I just have a question. How come you never debate off your channel?
I've never been asked to. Well, I've been asked
Never
to
been
by...
asked, huh?
No, I've been asked by 2 people, both of whom have found excuses to back out. The first person who asked me to debate anywhere other than my channel was Darth Dawkins. And then when I asked him if he was okay with my my terms that I said. He pretended that he never offered the debate, he never asked me, and then he went around with some smear campaign saying that I was trying to make myself look cool by pretending he had asked me for a debate. So whatever, that's clearly not happening. And then the only other person is that Elliot argument dude. And then he said the only way that he would debate me is if I dox myself and give him all my bunch of personal information, including my name. And I just have no interest in doing, putting my information out there like that. So those are the only two opportunities or only two situations where I've been presented with a question about debating anywhere other than my channel. I'm nobody, dude. Like, I'm just an idiot. I have less than 5,000 followers. I'm nobody.
That's fine. Yeah, I have no interest in actually debating you on your channel because you've been wrong on things and you just insist that you're right.
Oh,
there's no accountability. Yeah,
cool.
So I'm willing to debate you off your channel, like in a neutral space. Like,
okay, well, I mean, I don't know what you're doing here right now. Then, I mean, if you want to set up a debate, this is not the way to do that.
Debate where you can't like mute people and stuff.
And when's the last time I muted somebody?
You mute people all the time. You boot them when you're wrong.
Yeah. When's the last time I muted somebody? Yeah, when's the last time I muted somebody?
I have evidence. I have evidence on my channel.
So when's the last time I muted somebody?
I don't know. Go on my channel and look at it.
Yeah, when was the last time I muted somebody?
Yeah, you were wrong about what evidence and surprise, like what less surprising me.
Oh no, you just misunderstood that conversation.
Psychophysical harmony? No.
Oh, psychophysical harmony? Yeah, but when I gave the argument that the authors of the paper the argument came from said that they can't, that their argument can't stand up against. Yeah, I was wrong. All right,
you were wrong.
You fucking moron. No, here's the thing about it. I did do. There was quite a period where until I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, I would fairly liberally use the mute button to try to like get the conversations back on track. And then for a couple different reasons, I realized that I know that guy's an idiot. It was pointed out that, I don't know, muting people is not really like, it's not accomplishing anything. And I realized that that's true. And no, there are situations where it's worth muting somebody. But I'll be honest with you, I've been paying attention and I haven't muted anybody in weeks. So I'm not saying I've never muted anybody. Of course I've muted people. I have videos that I have personally edited and posted where I'm muting somebody. So like, I'm not saying I've never muted anybody. It's just been a long time. And yeah, I have no, whatever. If you want to debate, we can debate. If all you want to do is cry, then you don't need to be on my stage crying. So if you're 18, or if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Is Capleton going to join? No? Okay, fair enough. All right, Dorian.
Hello?
What have you got?
Okay. I have a little bit of I remember I was already trying to argue against Dean, so I have a little bit of notes that have that quote unquote have the proof that the Bible is real, and I didn't write down the sources, by the way. So if you want to search it up, you can. So okay, for the first thing, do you know who King David is?
I'm familiar with King David.
Okay, yeah. So in 1993, historians actually found the proof that King David did exist because they found the
I don't
the
care.
rock that
That's irrelevant.
I forgot what happened.
That has nothing to do with anything. I'm looking for reasons to believe that God
the
exists.
Bible that portrays God.
Yeah. Okay. So Dorian,
Exactly, that is
Dorian,
exactly.
Dorian, do you agree with me that Barack Obama was president of the United States?
Yes.
Okay. And so does that mean that since Barack Obama showed up in Spider-Man comics, that Spider-Man is actually real?
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it sounds like we both agree that just because a story has real people in it that actually existed doesn't mean that the rest of what's in the story is true, right? Right? Dorian? Hello?
I agree and disagree with that statement. I agree and disagree with it.
No, either you agree or disagree. Does a story... Hold on, Dorian. I'm going to ask the question here, and I just need a yes or no answer. Does a story having a real person as a character in the story guarantee that everything in the story is true? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, fantastic. So since all I'm concerned with is whether or not God exists, pointing out that some biblical stories include actual historical figures doesn't help us at all, because you and I both agree that that doesn't tell us whether the stories are actually true. So I'm just interested in whether there's a reason to believe in God. Is there any reason to believe that God actually exists?
I just have proof of the that thing that the Bible have said has been true.
Yeah, no, and I'm agreeing with you. There are real events that are in biblical stories. There are real people that are in biblical stories. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That has nothing to do with whether or not we have reason to believe in God, and that's the thing that I'm interested in. Is there any reason to believe in God? It sounds like you don't have any.
Okay, I have a little something. Okay, so how the universe functions, I feel like that is not just a chance of the Big Bang. The fact that if gravity was slightly off, we will all die.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
How
demonstrate that it... Excuse me. Well, the first...
Sure?
Yeah, 100%. The other problem here that you're going to have here is that in order for it to matter that, let's imagine that you're right, that if gravity was different, we would all die. Well, that only matters if it was possible for gravity to have been different. How did you determine that gravity could have been different?
Wait, repeat yourself again. I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah, what I was saying is that let's assume that you're right. If gravity was any different than it is, we'd all die, or we never would have come into existence. Well, that only matters if gravity could have actually been different. How did you determine that gravity could actually have been different?
For instance, how the Big Bang, how
did you determine?
People say that the Big
how
Bang,
did you determine that gravity could have been different? That's the question. We're not talking about the Big Bang right now. We're saying, how do we know that gravity could have been different?
Okay, can you rephrase that? I'm not really understanding it. Can you rephrase it?
I don't know how else to rephrase it, Dorian. You're saying that if gravity was different, then it would be... Okay, it sounds like maybe you're having connection issues.
Can you...
Yeah, maybe you just come back another time. I don't know. I don't think that we were going to get anywhere. We need to do that, yeah. Okay. Thanks for the support, Jinx Clips and Mr. Colby, Greenball, Lupine, Goatman, Alan Gibson, Bradley Cooper, Lem Goatman, Ken Vorland, good to see you. Thank you, Mikey. Yeah, thanks everybody for the support. You guys rule. Thanks again, Jinx Clips. Okay. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. No, I mean, you would, if you want to try to gift your way onto the stage, well, first off, that's not a thing that I have ever said that I will do. And certainly, a couple of roses probably isn't going to do it. I'm just going to bring people up in the order that they are requested in. I have never, ever, ever encouraged people to gift to get in on the stage. Never is that something I've encouraged or promoted or asked for. But anyway, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Rorco. How old are you?
I'm 24 years old. Sorry, my English is not great, but I'll try to be part of this argument.
Okay. And then, what God do you believe in?
I believe in the broader God. I do not fit in any kind of religion. I just believe in God.
Okay. So it's like a maybe an immaterial mind that created the universe?
Well, it's the argument about do I need to prove if the God exists or not?
I'm just trying to make sure that what you call God is something that I would agree is God. Otherwise, we're just going to end up having a debate about what words mean, and that's not interesting to me or anybody else. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to nail down the qualities of the thing that you're calling God. Is it like a
Well,
mind that exists outside of space and time that created and sustains the universe?
well, the God that I'm believing in is I believe there's nothing that I know. I don't even know when I was born. I don't know if I die.
I don't want you
I
to
don't
tell me
know
what you
nothing.
don't know, Rurko. I want you to tell me the qualities of the God you believe in.
Well, different dimension of a lot of things that I don't know. Those that I don't know things those are the things that I do not know. To me, is a God
Anything that you don't know is a God? Okay, well then we're definitely not talking
that
about the same
created.
thing, and I'm just going to go ahead and move on. Anything I don't already know is God. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Yeah, if we can have trees in here moderating. Well, Jinx, wait your turn. And honestly, if you keep begging in the comments, I'm just going to pass over you when it is your turn. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God.
Yo,
Zabuza, how old are you?
I am 20 years old.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Father, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus.
Okay, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Mine would be that Jesus isn't in his tomb like the rest of them are.
Okay, how did you confirm where his tomb is?
History. Really, that's...
Yeah, what's the evidence?
You got me. I
Okay.
can't even...
Okay, so obviously that's not a good argument. So what would be a good reason to believe in God?
How beautiful the world is.
Yeah, why would we expect it not to be so beautiful if God didn't exist?
Because then the universe just has no... It being a universe specifically means that there's no purpose for anything.
That's not an answer to my question. Why would we expect less beauty if God didn't exist?
Less beauty if God didn't exist because beauty wouldn't have a purpose, I feel like.
Yeah, that's just a claim. Why would we think that it would be true that we wouldn't have beauty if God didn't exist? Fair enough. I would run away if I was making that bad of an argument as well. Okay. So again, well, not only that, humans and animals can be ugly as fuck. I agree with that. But look what's right in front of you right now. You think that a God made this? A good God made this? Not a chance. Okay. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hi, Jinx. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe in 6 years. I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. Oh. All right. Okay. Right, Obelisk. That's the church. All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you actually have an argument for God or some evidence. Evidence is fine. Hi, Leah EW 58285920962449. How old are you?
21.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. How old are you, Leah?
I'm 21.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
The Lord. The Bible. You need to read it.
Okay. And why should I think that what the Bible says is true about God?
It gives you all the evidence.
I mean, that's certainly a claim. So what is the evidence that God exists?
Well, you see, I'm a Church of Christ. We help each other out throughout the whole church.
Okay, and that's not what I'm asking about, Leah. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm asking what's the reason to believe that God exists?
You read the Holy Bible in the King James. That's what we read.
That's fine. I understand that you read the Bible. I'm asking what would be your reason to think that God actually exists?
Can I ask you a question?
I suppose.
How do you believe this Earth got here?
Gravity. There was an accretion disk and matter clumped together and it formed a planet.
And the people?
Chemistry. Evolution. So that's 2 questions now. What's the reason to believe in God?
You need to read the Bible.
All right, fair enough. So enlightening. Church of Christ? Oh, I grew up going to a Church of Christ church. Well, that and Lutheran. I went to Church of Christ with my dad, and Lutheran, it's called Trinity Lutheran, I went to with my mom. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Yeah, Church of Christ. I really liked the pastor at the my dad's church, the Church of Christ. Hi, Scott. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 58.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
Sorry, what?
What God do you believe in?
It's a complicated story. We're here.
Well, I don't want a story. I don't want a story. Scott?
Just
Scott? No. Nope. I'm not going to hear you out. Either you're going to give me a direct, concise answer about what God you believe in, or I'm just going to drop you.
If there is no God.
Okay, so one last opportunity. I'm asking what God you believe in, and the next thing you say is either going to be a direct, concise answer to that question, or you're getting dropped.
He has to be real. Because...
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, God's really sending the best. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Good point, Goatman. Hi, DZ. How old are you?
32.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Okay. Which God do you believe in, DZ?
The God, our creator.
Yeah, which one?
Jesus.
Okay, fantastic. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
I believe God is real.
Okay, and what's the reason to believe that God is real?
Because He created us.
Well, obviously, if God's not real, He didn't create us, so why should we think that He exists?
What do you say?
Saying that God created us assumes that God is real, but I don't have a reason to believe that God is real. Why should I believe that God is real?
Who created you?
My parents.
Oh.
You see how you asked me a question and I gave you a direct, concise, informative answer?
Oh.
That's what I'm asking you to do. What's the reason to believe that God exists?
Because okay, God is real. That's what I know.
Why?
is the one that created us. Is the supreme being.
Yep, that's the claim. What is the reason to think that that claim is correct?
I don't know. Your parent can't create you from the scratch, like
Yeah,
from
that's
the
true.
beginning.
Yep, no, that's true. My mom had eggs, in her ovaries. Oh, I almost forgot the word ovaries. One of the eggs traveled down the fallopian tube into her uterus, and then my dad's sperm fertilized that egg, and then 9 months later I was born.
Yeah, who made ovaries? Who made eggs? Who did all that?
Yeah, evolution.
What's evolution? Can you explain evolution to me?
Yeah, it's the change in allele frequency over time. So I've answered a whole bunch of your questions directly and with informative answers that actually respond to the question and the content of your question. I'm asking you to do me the same courtesy. What would you say is a good argument or evidence that would give us a reason to believe in God?
God's real, bro.
Okay. Well, I agree that you believe that, but I don't agree that you've given us any reason to believe that. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on. Genuinely, like, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but somebody once accused me of like paying people to come up here and debate really bad to make myself look good. And I swear on the God that doesn't exist, I'm not doing that. If I had the money to do that, I would spend it on other stuff. Hey, thanks, Alan Gibson. You fucking rule. Also, thanks for the support, Susie. Okay. Yeah, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, GM. How old are you?
What's up? I'm 19.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do.
All right. And what version of God do you believe in?
Islam.
Okay. And then, what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us rational justification to believe in God?
So my personal argument would be like there are two theories, only two, which exist. We know in science that that space, the universe, is not infinite.
How do we know that?
We know it.
How?
I don't know. It's just
well, that's a really strong claim. If you don't have evidence to back it up, I would recommend that you stop making that claim. So your options now are to either support the claim that we have scientific reason to believe the universe is not infinite, or retract the claim.
Brother, just let me talk.
Nope, that's not an option. So I told you what your two options are. I guess you have a third option. You can bitch out and leave. So your three options are to be a baby and leave because you can't support your position, support your position, or admit that you can't support the position.
Bro, I checked it on. I checked it once.
Yeah, you asked ChatGPT and it told you what you thought you wanted to hear.
I didn't.
Okay, so this is, I'm just going to ask one more time, GM. I've asked you multiple times and you refuse to give an answer. If I ask you again and you still refuse to give an answer, then everybody will know what that means. So, what is the support for your position that science demonstrates the universe cannot be infinite?
I don't have to study right now.
Okay. Okay, so can you agree that you made a claim you can't support?
I can't support it, yeah.
Okay, right. Fantastic. So let's move on to an argument that you can support. What would be a good reason to believe in God?
Okay. Now let's say everything has a background in the universe.
I don't know what you mean by background.
Like, I don't know how to explain it in English. Like, okay, look at it like this. The sun, like, bro, I just think my English is too fucking bad.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're struggling with that. If you want to come back another time, I'd be happy to talk with you.
All right, no worries. Have a good one, brother.
Take care. Okay. Well, let me see. Gone through 18 people in the last hour and still haven't gotten a single argument for God. Fuck yeah, dude. Good times. But the guest queue is empty now. So if you are 18 plus and you think you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God, feel free to come up. Thanks, World Greatest, for the Stingray. Thank you, KC, for the sick pompadour. Thank you, Lem, Angelic. I don't know what this is. L. Lamars? I don't know. I can't read. EJ Lamars. I think that's what it said. Okay. So yeah, like I said, don't currently have anybody requesting. We're not doing question time. I'm doing debates. So if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God, feel free to request up. I'd be happy to have the conversation. I was oh shit. Thanks, Angelic. That goat was cool as fuck. So I was reading about ethical naturalism today, which is the idea that morals are objective and they're grounded in nature and like what humans are, right? And there's an interesting analogy about like basically the idea is that in a lot of moral theories, it's really common for people to act like when we use good as an evaluative term in morals, it's somehow different than when we use good in other types of evaluations. And I think that the kind of neo-Aristotelian view on ethical naturalism would be that it's the same, right? Like, for example, if we were to talk about an oak tree and we say, like, what makes a good oak tree? Well, we know one thing that would make an oak tree a good oak tree is if it has really sturdy roots that go really deep down, because the type of oak tree, type of tree or type of being an oak tree is requires for it to be the kind of being it is, for it to have a successful life, it has to have very sturdy roots that go really deep down. That's just the kind of being that it is. So if an oak tree doesn't have sturdy and or deep roots, we would say, well, that's an example. That's an example or a bad example of an oak tree. Or we might even more pointedly say that's an example of a bad oak tree, right? And in the same way, because of the type of creature humans are, you know, we're rational beings, we're social beings. If a person is acting in a way that isn't conducive to the success of themselves, their community, the culture that they're a part of, producing, not necessarily themselves producing offspring, but helping the continuation of the species, well, then that would be an example, or like a bad example of a person, or if we wanted to get really pointed, an example of a bad person. And that I don't mean that in that anyone who doesn't have kids is bad. I'm just saying that if you are, if you're the kind of person who is doing things that take away from your community's ability to continue to thrive, then you're an example of you're a bad example of a human, and possibly even an example of a bad human, right? And so I think that we can say these like evaluative terms in the same way that we would evaluate other living things as good or bad versions of what they are. And I think that we can do the same thing with humans. And the idea of this is that morality is more about the agent, the person, than it is about specific acts. And I think that's a really interesting concept. I've been thinking about that a lot. But anyway, looking to talk to people who are adults and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Beef. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Cool. And what God do you believe in?
The Christian God of the Bible.
I appreciate you just being forthright and honest. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Yeah, I'd go with the verifiability of characters in the Bible. The Dead Sea Scrolls or Josephus, right? There's a lot of historical writings.
Well, what do the Dead Sea Scrolls do for us?
I mean, yeah, they just prove the, I guess, authenticity of the scriptures, right?
How do they prove the authenticity of what?
As far as the translations go, I guess I should be clear. A lot of the
I don't know what you're talking about. The Dead Sea Scrolls are only from the Old Testament, so if they confirm anything, it's Judaism. It has nothing to do with Christianity being correct. Yeah, so anyway, regardless, you're saying that the reason to believe in it is, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, you're saying boosts accuracy, but that doesn't boost accuracy for the New Testament, or boosts claims of accuracy. So that doesn't help us with any Christian.
There's Roman
hold
writings
on,
about Jesus Christ.
Hold on. Apparently there's a fucking moth in here. Anyway, what I'm asking is, what I want to address is one of the claims. The first thing that you said was that being historical people in the Bible or in biblical stories demonstrates something, but I don't agree that it does, because just like I mentioned to somebody else, just because Barack Obama was a real person, the fact that he showed up in a Spider-Man comic doesn't mean Spider-Man is real, right? Same with the fact that Spider-Man comics take place in New York and New York is a real city. That also doesn't make Spider-Man real. So having real people, real places, real events in biblical stories don't give us any evidence that the supernatural claims, the mythological claims, are true. And that's what I'm interested in. What's a reason to believe that God actually exists?
So I believe that Jesus was a historical figure. I believe he was the Son of God.
Yeah, I understand.
He's done some really good work with the resurrection.
Okay, beef.
Yep.
What you're doing right now, instead of presenting an argument or evidence, is you're saying evidence and arguments exist. Okay, well, I knew before you even started talking, just by the fact that you came up here, that you believe that arguments and evidence exist. I already am aware of that. You don't have to tell me or convince me of that. You need to actually give me the arguments or evidence, not talk about them.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, what it boils down to is, Jesus was either a liar, the lunatic, or Lord, right? You got to decide, and it comes down to faith.
He could also be fiction.
Believing in Christ.
He could also be fiction.
Yeah, that'd be he was a liar.
No,
yeah.
Not that he's a liar, that he didn't exist. Do you think Voldemort is a liar? Of course not, because he's not real.
See, and that's where I think Pliny the Younger, Josephus, right? There's historical writings.
Nope. All they say is that people believed in Jesus. That they say nothing about Jesus actually existing. Do you have any evidence that Jesus actually existed?
The letters that Paul wrote to the early church, right?
Yep, and that was all. Paul never met Jesus. So do you have any evidence that Jesus actually existed, not just evidence that people believed in Jesus?
So why would the early church die and be persecuted?
Okay, so that's asking me a question. What I'm asking you is to support your claim that Jesus actually existed and claimed to be the Son of God.
I mean, I wouldn't die for something if I didn't.
I don't really care what you would or wouldn't die for. When the Hindu priest Shanti Kali had Christians put a gun to his head and tell him that if he didn't renounce his personal experiences with the Hindu gods, he refused, and they murdered him for it. Does that mean that Hinduism is true because he went to his death in order because he refused to go back on his beliefs about his experiences with the Hindu gods?
No, again, it comes down
to
of
course. So hold on.
Beef.
Hold on.
Yes.
What you're saying is, if Shanti Kali's example isn't enough for us to think that Hinduism is true, then people dying for Christian beliefs isn't enough for us to believe that Christianity is true. Obviously, your position is not anytime someone goes to their death for a religious belief, their religious belief is true. If you believed that, you would have to think that Hinduism is just as credible as Christianity, which you don't. So obviously, that's not your actual standard. So what I'm asking you for is something where you're not lying or contradicting yourself that would give us a reason to believe that God actually exists.
What do you think? Again, I just think Jesus' resurrection, right?
Okay, what's the evidence of the resurrection?
So the guards. And again, it's going to come down to writings in the Bible, right?
And none of the writings from the Bible were anywhere near the time of the events, so there's not any eyewitnesses. In fact, the Gospels were written anonymously, so we don't know who wrote them or why. So we cannot believe the things that are written in the Gospels just because they're written there. So what's the independent attestation that Jesus actually existed, that he resurrected, anything like that? Do you have any witness accounts? I mean, I know you don't, but
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, none of those were firsthand witnesses.
Correct. They're all written anonymously decades and decades after Jesus died, or supposedly died.
So what, the first, was it like 80, 40s, 80, 50 was the first gospel?
No, the earliest writings we have, or the earliest we've dated any writings from Christianity are around 70 to 75. And those are Paul's writings that have nothing to do with the Gospels. The Gospels weren't written until probably another decade or two, if not more, after that. The earliest copies that we have of any of the writings from the New Testament are from about 140 or later. So not until over 100 years after Jesus died do we have any documents. Now, we think there are scholars who think that the documents we have from around 140-ish are copies of things that were written decades earlier, and that's fine. We can say those things were actually written in the 1st century, but if they weren't written until, towards the end of the 1st century, where Jesus would have supposedly died sometime around between 30 and 35, and the earliest writings, the earliest we can date anything, is at best 70 to 75, so 40 to 45 years after Jesus supposedly died. So no, we don't have any eyewitness testimony in the Gospels. Is there any eyewitness testimony? I mean, I know there's not, but maybe you can show me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not up to date, I guess, on the information as much as you are. So props to you for that. As far as Saul to Paul, right? The conversion that Saul had.
Yeah, he fell off of his horse, he hit his head, had a hallucination, and he changed his life because of it. That's not convincing to me. I know someone who fell off her horse and hit her head and became a completely different person afterward too. That doesn't mean that I believe everything that she says after she fell off her horse and hit her head.
Gotcha. What about prophecies from the Old Testament that lined up with Jesus, right? Like if you
there
stack
weren't
up all
any.
the old. Not a single one?
Nope, not a single one. The only ones, all the actual prophecies about the Messiah are about a triumphant king who would end all the wars, usher in world peace, and set up a 1,000-year reign of Jewish domination and convert all of the nations to believe in the Jewish God, and make sure that there were still Levitical priests doing offerings all over the world, or at least all over Israel. Obviously, Jesus didn't do any of those things.
Isaiah 51 and 52. I mean,
that's not a prophecy about Jesus. Isaiah, that portion of Isaiah is about the righteous remnant of Israel coming out of Babylonian captivity. It's just a metaphor. That's why the Isaiah, if you read
the piercing in his side.
It doesn't say piercing. It says they dug at my hands and feet like a lion. It has nothing, or like dogs or whatever. Right. No. So that's actually them just saying. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I got a couple things mixed up. I was talking about the Psalm. I apologize. What you're talking about is them being taking the punishment for everyone else's iniquities, and that was just calling Israel, the righteous remnant of Israel, metaphorically referring to them as a person. He called it Jacob and said, "You are my servant." The servant is the righteous remnant of Israel. It is not a prophecy about Jesus. It's about things that were happening then when they were coming out of Babylonian captivity. So it's nothing to do with Jesus. It's not a prophecy.
In Isaiah, I can't remember, it's 51 or 52, but he talks about none of his bones will be broken.
It's talking
like water.
I'm explaining this to you, Beef. I'm telling you that this is about Israel. The righteous remnant of Israel is the servant. That's why it says over and over and over again who the servant is. It keeps saying, Israel, you are my servant. Jacob, you are my servant. It's saying that Israel, the country, the people, the righteous remnant who come out of Babylonian captivity. The whole point of that story is to say, you that were in Babylonian captivity and are coming out of it, you suffered so much, but your suffering wasn't in vain. It's going to bring all the other countries to our God Yahweh, and everyone's going to see how great God is because of your suffering in Babylonian captivity. This is not a prophecy. It's just a story about coming out of that captivity. That's all it's about. Unless you have some specific evidence that shows why we should think that in that one passage, the servant suddenly isn't Jesus when it's, the servant suddenly is Jesus when it's actually Israel, the entire rest of the story. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is not a prophecy.
Gotcha. I mean, I know there's a handful of other prophecies that are supposedly stacking up with Jesus.
There aren't.
Off the top of my head.
No, they aren't. They're not prophecies. All they are is just looking at things, passages from the Old Testament that seem to line up with some detail of the fake story about Jesus, and then they said it was a prophecy. Like, for example, the one that you're talking about there, where it's actually about the righteous remnant of Israel, because it says something that sounds like Jesus suffering, people pretend that it's a prophecy. Or like parts where someone says there's a young girl who's pregnant and she's going to give birth to a boy, blah, 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 because the word for young woman, when that was written, later when it was translated, the word that it was translated into changed its meaning over time after the translation and came to be more commonly used for virgins. The writers of the New Testament thought, oh, this is about a pregnant virgin. We think Jesus came from a pregnant virgin, so we're going to pretend this is a prophecy, even though it doesn't say anything about a virgin, and it's about a woman who was pregnant hundreds of years before Jesus existed. So all they're doing is just taking passages that say anything that sounds anywhere near anything in Jesus's life and pretending it's a prophecy, and they know it's not actually a prophecy prophecy, so they call it typology, which is bullshit. It's cope. They're not prophecies. There are actual messianic prophecies. And you know why the Jews don't accept Jesus as the actual messianic savior?
Why is that?
Because he doesn't fulfill a single one of the messianic prophecies. That's why the whole Jewish religion didn't rally behind him, because he never fulfilled a single prophecy. Even in the stories, he doesn't fulfill the prophecies. So
I mean,
no, that's all
I'd argue
bullshit.
too that the Pharisees didn't like him usurping the power, right? Like,
That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. What I'm telling you is that Jesus did not fulfill the messianic prophecies. The Messiah was supposed to cut off the war horses and the chariots. The Messiah was supposed to end war, usher in peace, make sure that the Israelites, the Jews, would be safe. That didn't happen. There was all kinds of death and destruction and war after Jesus died. If he was the Messiah, that stuff would not have happened. Because, again, the Messiah was supposed to be an actual king sitting on the throne of Israel. Did Jesus ever, in the biblical stories, in the Gospels, did he ever sit on the throne of Israel?
No, he did not.
Exactly. So he is not the king. And now what you're probably going to want to say is, well, he'll sit on the throne when he comes back. Okay, well, when that happens, then we can talk about him being a king and potentially fulfilling those prophecies. But until then, it's not a fulfilled prophecy. And if it's not a fulfilled prophecy, then certainly Jesus didn't fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I mean, obviously you're pretty well versed on this stuff. I would just say, like, it comes down to faith, like to believe in evolution or no God. I think that takes some faith too.
No, it doesn't take any faith to believe in evolution, and no one should ever believe anything on faith, because you can believe literally anything on faith.
Well,
could I believe?
I should clarify. There's
a
lot of Christians that believe in evolution. They just believe God started it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you don't have to
fine.
believe
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that no one should believe anything on faith, because you could believe literally anything on faith. I'm sure that you think a lot of people out there, like people who believe in Islam on faith, and people who believe in Judaism on faith, and people who believe in Scientology on faith, you probably think that they're all wrong, even though they're using the method that you're endorsing. What that means is that not even you think that that's a reliable method to get you to true conclusions.
So out of all those religions, from an atheist perspective, which one has the most credibility in your opinion?
None of them. They're all bullshit. They're all cope. They're all fairy tales. They're bedtime stories.
You don't think one has a better argument than others?
One does any have a better argument than others? No, absolutely not. No, they're all equally fictional, mythological bedtime
So
stories.
Joseph Smith's writings are as good as Paul's, in your opinion?
No, Joseph Smith's are way better.
Really?
But
Okay.
but Mormonism has enough other stupid things that it brings it down to the same level as Christianity.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not going to be able to change your mind here, but
All right. Well, I appreciate the conversation.
so-
Hope you have a good one. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, what's going on? Thank you everybody for the support. Claire, Mikey's thoughts, Summer, World's Greatest. Mikey's thoughts. Hey, fuck yeah. I love the pompadour. I would never have that hairstyle, but fuck, it's awesome. Poopman Jones, thank you so much. Paleo Media. Tom, thanks for the donut. Yeah, fucking Alan Gibson. Tree. Oh, you fucking rule, Tree. Chilling History. Alan, Angelic, JJ. Thank you guys. Poopman Jones, you rule. Okay. So, yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Oh, yeah. Also, thank you so much for the likes and the shares. I sincerely do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for interacting, commenting. I'm pretty sure that stuff helps with the algorithm. I don't really know, but it probably does. So thank you. And then the other thing that I'll mention is that I do have both a Discord and a YouTube channel. Hey, thank you, Angelic. Fuck yeah. You rock. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting. Yeah, like I said, I do have a YouTube channel. Trying to get more subscribers over there so I can do more on that platform. And then also I would love to build a community with the Discord. There are other great communities on Discord though, so definitely not expecting everybody to come run into mine, but hey, maybe we have an opportunity to build something cool there. If you'd like to join, so your call. But oh, thank you, Daniel, for subscribing to the YouTube. I appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to the next person. Hopefully we can have some good convos here. Hi, Water, how old are you?
Hey, I'm 27. How are you?
Doing just fine. What God do you believe in?
That's good. So, Jesus, and I actually have some really good evidence for you.
Okay, well, I don't believe you, based on saying I assume that this is a troll.
Oh, no. We know that the Bible's true because it says that it's true.
Okay, well, that's kind of what I figured, yep. All right, that is as good as the Christian arguments get, but I'm not really interested in LARPing and trolling and devil's advocates or whatever. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. Trust me, folks, you don't have to come up and make the religious people, the theists, look bad. They'll do a great job on their own. Aw. Hey, that's awesome. Oh, that was Punch? Or is that like Punch's doll or something? I don't know. It was awesome. That guy beat me? Yeah, well, fair enough. I guess now we've confirmed at least one loss. Hi, Claire. How old are you?
Hi. 45. I'm old.
Well, barely older than me, so I'm right there with you.
Oh, so I'm older. Whoops.
Yeah, well, I'm 40, so I'm not too far
so my
behind.
accent is going to be a problem.
I don't know. I hope not.
Always is.
I hope
It
not.
always is.
I mean, we'll find out, I guess. What God do you believe in?
I'm not, like, when I was a young girl, I really believe in God.
Okay,
I
but
really
I'm just
believe.
asking, do you currently believe in a God right now?
No, really.
Okay.
Is that bad?
Well, no. I think that every reasonable person should refrain from believing in a God.
So I question it. I really question it.
Okay. Is there some... I'm just doing debates right now. Is there some specific...
No, I was brought up as Christian, and I do ultimately believe.
Okay.
I want to believe.
Sure.
I want to believe.
Okay. What would be the argument that would give you a reason to believe?
Proof. Like, no actual, like, ultimate proof, but, I mean, I do believe in God.
Yep, I'm just asking, is there some specific argument or piece of evidence that we can discuss? Otherwise, I'm just going to move on.
Yeah, just basic proof. Like, I think a lot of people.
Okay. Well, I agree that if there was proof, we could discuss that, but I don't know what that is. And no, the accent was not the problem. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. DZ, I'm not bringing you back up. Again, you already came up and had nothing. It's not worth my time or anyone else's. If you want to come back in a couple weeks when you actually have something of substance, fine, but I'm not talking to you again tonight. Hi, Noel. How old are you?
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, just so we're on the same page, I grew up with religion.
I don't really care. How old are
but
you?
I'm 18.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I'm agnostic, but I grew up Jewish. I still am Jewish, to be fair. And I believe in science and biology just as much as anyone else. However, I wanted to ask you, because you can only go back so far in time, back in time before you can prove things with science, you know? So for instance, the Big Bang and everything else that created, the universe as we know it today. So I was just wondering how you would be able to, prove that such things were created without, a higher deity or God doing it.
Well, number one, we don't have any reason to think that a God was involved, and we have lots of reasons to think that gods can't exist.
Yeah, well, what I mean is that you can only go back so far in time before...
That's irrelevant. Okay, yeah, okay. Fair enough. Just kicked himself because he knew he had nothing. All right, well, the guest queue is currently empty again. Don't have anybody. But maybe we can have a good conversation tonight. I don't know if we've had any actually good conversations this evening. Is this somebody that came before? Hi, Donovan. How old are you?
We are Charlie.
Oh, it's you. You gotta sing from the diaphragm, dude. You can't just. We are Charlie. It's got we. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pull it from the gut.
Fuck you. Shut up, bitch.
Oh, Christ. Oh, your God. Oh, thanks, 3 pips. Appreciate you. Yeah. I have done vocals in metal bands before, yeah. Can I? No. Oh. How do I? Is it this? Okay, 1 second. I'll bring up the next person. I just trying to see if I can do a maintenance thing here, and it. Oh. No, do one of those, and do one of those. Okay. Okay, so yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. I would love to hear you sing someday, Tree. Hi, Lair, how old are you?
We are Charlie Kirk.
Okay, well, you definitely don't want to do it that way.
We are Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, that isn't helping anybody. Charlie would be embarrassed. Hi, Alice, how old are you?
I'm a guy.
What?
I'm a guy. I'm a guy.
Yeah, you're Alice Walters. How old are you?
35.
What God do you believe in?
Christian God.
Okay, and what's the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in him?
Can I ask you a question?
I mean, I just asked you a question.
Okay, what's the question?
What's the best argument or evidence to believe in God?
Because there's God is the creator of everything.
Wow, insightful. We should believe in God because he's God?
Yeah, because it's the beginning and it's the end.
Yeah, that's certainly a claim. Well, it doesn't sound like you have anything, though, so I'm going to move on. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus, that you believe in a God, and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hi, Water, how old are you?
Don't put bananas in my butt.
I wasn't thinking about doing it. I mean, I am now, and I don't want to. Yeah, so... Oh, 3 pips, you're awesome. Thank you. Fucking fantastic. Yeah, I'm so scared to talk to people. Definitely, I'm so scared. Anyone who wants to come up and actually give evidence, I'd be happy to chat. Yeah, I'm scared for people to prove me wrong. Yeah, I'm terrified. That's why I do this all the time and take any argument. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Also, just another Dexter person, troll. How old are you?
Problem with my age, puss?
Yeah, that's about what I expected. Why do the kids... I kick and overtalk anyone who kicks me? Well, no one kicks me. I do get real people most of the time. I don't know why tonight's been so rough. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do a TikTok reset. Maybe that'll get me, back in the algorithm. I did get some restrictions earlier because of, I assume because of the racial slurs that were screamed, and unfortunately nothing I can do about that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a reset on the TikTok here, and I will be right back. All right, just give me a moment here. Oh, it's just me and you, YouTube. Just me and you. Oh, we're going to do one of those and one of these. And then go live again. Hi, computer load. What's wrong with my computer? It says like 5%. So annoying. All right, we're back. I'm at like 14% processor load right now. Whatever. All right, hopefully folks coming back. Hey! Good times. Good times. And we are back indeed, Colette. Thanks, Summer and Colette and Poopman Jones. Yeah, trapped with you, Obelisk. It's just me and you. All right. Hey, more follows right away. What are we at? Holy shit, I didn't even notice. We're up over 4,100 now. Man, that's fucking climbing. Absolutely climbing. Damn, Casey. Thank you. Owly, Lupine, you guys fucking rule. Well, I appreciate that, Summer. That's really kind of you. But yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Also, thanks for the shares and the likes, everybody. Helps.
Yo.
Okay, well, that's a child. Yeah, make sure you're actually an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Oh, 4 a.m., goddamn. That's wild. Yeah, Lupine. You have the power. That's so annoying, Monkey Boy. I don't know why I keep doing that, but whatever. I keep getting the Charlie Kirk singers now, but they're really bad. Oh. I'm always unised up. Poopman Jones. But yeah, hopefully we will get some actual adults that want to actually have the conversation. It's been kind of tough. People don't actually want to discuss the topic. What have we gotten tonight? We've gotten claims about the Gospels with no support. We got a LARPer. We got somebody with, well, at least the Infinite Past guy admitted that he couldn't support his position. We got a bunch of claims. A lot of people want to talk about the Bible, but don't want to actually give any evidence. Yeah, not a whole lot. Oh, finally, Tree. So glad you're back. I can rest easy. Yeah, pretty much, Swag Skunk. Unfortunately, that is how the night has gone so far. But yeah, hopefully with the reset, we'll get some folks in here and actually have some good conversations. I don't know what our community just tiered up means, but hey, it seems like a good thing. Thanks for the support, Greenball, Meta Morgan, Tom, Backwoods Leftist, Owly, Casey, Summer, everybody. Thank you. Good. I don't know about that. Life is literary. I don't know about that. What evidence do I accept? Well, any evidence. And evidence would just be anything that raises the probability of a hypothesis being true. So, yeah, evidence for God would literally be any information that makes it more likely that God does exist. Oh, well, that's cool. I don't know shit about TikTok, Goatman. It sounds like you probably know more than I do. But yeah, if you're 18 plus, or excuse me, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, yeah, I'm with you on that one, Monkey Boy. Make sure if you're trying to join that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Swiss Cheeser. How old are you?
You got a problem with my age, puss?
Yeah, another child. The kids need to stop. All right. Hi, Elijah. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I joined your live like a while ago, but I'm not here to debate. I was gonna say, like, happy Friday, and I really like watching your streams. I was just showing like positivity and love, brother.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Do one of those. I add the people who are requesting. Oh yeah, absolutely, Lupine. Anybody here, if you're not following Monkey Boy, I would have no idea why not. You definitely should be following Monkey Boy. But yeah, I'm adding the people who request. If you want to have the conversation, if you want to debate, you have to request. Thanks for, I don't really know how YouTube works, but the likes and whatever over there, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I figured out that you were Bames over there on the tubes. Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in, sincerely. That's awesome. Also, that was an awesome conversation earlier. I know we don't see eye to eye, but I really appreciate that conversation. I've been thinking so much about you know, those topics about ethics. It's really nice to have the conversation and get the pushback, because it forces me to think about it. So I really appreciate you for that. Okay, so we'll try to bring up the next person. Make sure if you're requesting that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Rocco. How old are you?
Yo, I'm 22.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yeah.
All right. And then what God do you believe in?
I'm a deist.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Well, I'm just curious. Like, I saw a couple debates with you before, and I was just wondering, like, why whenever someone has, like, a good argument and, like, they know terms that you don't, you kind of, like, play the victim.
I don't know what you mean by play the victim, but I'm not really here
Oh,
to
you're
talk
like,
meta.
oh, he's
Do you
beating
have
on
any?
his chest. He's like, oh, he's beating on his chest. He thinks
Okay,
he's so
so
alpha.
do
You
you
can just
have?
admit you're wrong.
Do you have any?
And, like, you can just admit that you're not. You just don't
Okay.
understand. Like,
So
there's
you have
nothing wrong with
nothing?
that. So you can't answer the question.
All right, fair enough. I'm not really here for the meta. If you want to debate, feel free. I'm about to get crushed now. Hi, Thinker. How old are you?
No, I was just no, I was literally just coming up like to be, basically be like, no, dude, like when you don't know, like it's a good thing to admit you don't know something for one, and you actually do that. Like done that in our conversations and
Well, this is something that I've been thinking about because there are people who will come up here and, talk about things that I don't understand. And what I think about in those situations is, what do I tell the people, the guests, the theists who come up and debate? If I'm in a position where I'm showing that they're wrong about something, and then they say, you know what, I don't really know how to handle that, I need to think about it and, go research or whatever, I'm always praising them, right? I'm saying, hey, thank you so much. So why would I not do the same? Why would I not do the same when I don't know, right? If I don't know something, I'm just going to say I don't know that. I don't know. I don't understand that concept, whatever it is.
but yeah, no, like that was it. It was just like wanted to, like, not that you need it, but it was just like would be more, I don't know, it would be stronger coming from quote unquote the enemy.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that you're my enemy and you're got my back. You have a good
Good luck
rest
with the rest of the guests.
Yeah, have a good night. Hopefully we get some actual good ones tonight. Maybe Monkey Boy can get this ship back on track, because you know how ships are on tracks.
Yeah, ships are usually on track.
All my favorite ships are on tracks.
I was just gonna say, I got a really good suggestion. I learned this from the youngins. What you want to do is you want to turn up rhetoric times 10, be as abusive as possible, and just shout slurs.
Oh, that's what I need to. Yeah, you know what? I haven't been shouting enough slurs. I'll try to work on that next week. I'll practice over the weekend, and then next week I'll be ready to go. God.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe even that's not enough.
I don't know.
Hopefully
Well,
that does somehow.
It's worth trying, right? I mean, because I definitely want to be the kind of person who comes on, onto this stage and screams out abuse and slurs and stuff, and shows everybody what a piece of shit I am.
Yeah, that's what all the high tiers do.
Yeah, definitely what the high tiers do. You mean Raw Soul, right? I mean, when I think high tier,
course. I mean, like Jay Dyer. That's like the pinnacle.
Oh, well, my true hero, P. Mars, and his, of course I say the N-word. Like, come on,
Yeah.
dude. Oof, good times,
Yeah.
good times. But we're on the immoral side. Just so you don't forget that, Monkey Boy. We're the immoral ones.
I mean, we're atheists. Isn't that like trivial?
Obviously. All right. Well, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have an argument. You gonna hang out for a bit, Monkey Boy? No pressure. You can bail. Or
Yes,
bail.
I haven't been
Bail.
practicing my slurs is all.
fair enough. Fair enough. Not quite ready to roll them out.
Yeah, no. I gotta like, it's from the chest.
Yeah, well, that's true. You don't want to half-ass those slurs.
Exactly. I'll come back at when I'm equipped.
I appreciate you only bringing your best. Have a good weekend, man. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll try to see if we can bring up a good interlocutor, as the kids are not saying. Hi, Marmalade. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Okay. No, I don't believe in a God. I'm an atheist and an activist atheist. And I was wondering, just before seeing your TikTok live, what could be the best possible proof that God exists for me? What could convince me, actually? And I have an idea, and I just happened to see your live at this moment, and I wanted to share it with you.
Well,
if you don't mind.
Well, I do mind, Marmalade. I appreciate you. Maybe you can throw it in the chat, but I'm just looking to debate with people who do actually believe in God. So if you're in the guest queue, make sure that you are an adult, that you believe in God, and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Jack. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay. Well, you do not sound 18. Maybe 14. I would believe 14. So if you're in the guest queue, make sure you are actually an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, James. How old are you?
Yeah, over 18.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I do.
And which God?
Deism.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
I'd say the best evidence or argument would be the argument for contingency.
Okay. Is there a particular formulation that you prefer?
So I'd say because we live in a physical reality, I think a good analogy would be you can't have an infinite chain of falling dominoes.
Why not?
Without a beginning.
Why not?
Because if the chain goes back forever, the first domino would never fall.
Well, that's because there isn't a first one, so that's a category error. Why couldn't you have an infinite series
of dominoes?
Yeah.
Where would you place the first domino?
Well, there wouldn't be a first, so you're contradicting yourself. If we're talking about a series that doesn't have a beginning, asking for the beginning, you're fucking up, right? So you got to stop talking about a thing that doesn't have a beginning and then looking for the beginning. That's your mistake. What you're doing is you're begging the question against the infinite series by asking for something that it couldn't possibly have. So what you need to do is actually address the infinite series and a problem with it, not saying that it can't be an infinite series because it's an infinite series. That doesn't make any sense.
So there must be a starting point that was not pushed.
No, that again is just begging the question. Why does it have to have a starting point?
Because if the rule is everything has a cause, then it applies inside our universe, right?
Well, you would need to demonstrate that everything has a cause, but even if there is an infinite series, then each domino falling does have a cause, and it's the prior domino hitting it. And no matter how far back you go, you always have an explanation for each domino falling. It's the domino prior hitting it. There doesn't have to be a first one, unless you can give some reason why there does have to be a first one, but I just asked you, and you failed. Can you do it this time?
Yeah, so if God exists outside of time and space...
Nope, that's not the question. That's not the question. That's not the question, James. Why could an infinite domino, a series of dominoes, not exist? What's the problem?
Where would you place the first domino?
Okay, so you just made the exact same category error that you've made over and over again. If you beg the question or make the same category error again, I'm just going to drop you. And if you give anything other than an actual response that defends your position, I'm just going to drop you. So what is the reason to think that it must have a beginning?
Because contingent reality requires an explanation, right?
Okay, so you're just stating the claim again. So like I said, I'm dropping you. Maybe another time you can come back and do something other than beg the question. Well, you see, the reason that it has to have a beginning is because it has to have a beginning. Like, what? Like, that's what's in question. Obviously. So, yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Spazzer. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 26.
Do you believe in a God?
I do, yeah, the Christian God.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, so you're asserting God isn't real. What's your reason for asserting that, for thinking that you're in a position to necessarily assert that?
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that it's not possible for a God to exist, especially, things like the Christian God. I'm sorry, I have a really terrible memory, and there have been a lot of people tonight. You said you're Christian, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, just making sure that I wasn't remembering incorrectly. Now, typically, there's lots of different arguments, but kind of want to make sure that I give one that actually responds to your position. So I just want to make sure that you agree with the typical Christian position that God is all good, all knowing, and all powerful. Do you agree with that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And then, is it possible for me to live a morally perfect life? Is it possible for me or any person in this world to have made the correct moral decision every time they had a moral decision to make?
That's an interesting question. Coming from the Orthodox perspective, Orthodox Christian perspective, I think we say that it is technically possible, but practically impossible.
Right, but we would say, like, logically it would be possible?
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to give an argument. Do you prefer that I go premise by premise and we can discuss each one at a time, or do you want me to just rattle off the whole thing?
Premise by premise is pretty good.
Fantastic. So premise one is just going to be that if God exists, he's all good, and he could have made any logically possible universe. I know you already said you agree he's all good, and it sounds like because you think he's all powerful, he could have made any logically possible universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Fantastic. And then premise two is just going to be that if God is all good, he always makes the best moral choice.
Correct.
Fantastic. Premise three, if God always makes the best moral choice, then he created the best possible universe.
Yes.
Fantastic. And then premise four, if God created the best possible universe, then this universe could not be better. Because God created this universe, right?
Sure. Yeah, we can go with that.
Okay, fantastic. So then premise five.
Right.
If God could have made any logically possible universe, then he could have made a universe where every agent always freely makes the best moral choice, right? Because we said that that's logically possible.
I think, well, but if it's free will, I mean, I think that's a logical contradiction where they're forced
No, you
to
said it's logically possible.
will the
Hold on.
good every time.
You're just contradicting yourself now. You said it is logically possible for an agent to make the good moral choice every time they have a moral choice to make. So obviously, since it's logically possible for agents to do that, and God could make any logically possible universe, he could have made a universe where everyone makes the right moral choice freely every time. Because that was within the logical possibilities.
Okay, so only create people that would, right. So only creating people that would will the good every time.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I'd agree with that.
Fantastic. And obviously, I think this is trivial. A universe where every agent always freely makes the best moral choice would be better than this universe, because we live in a universe where not everyone makes the best moral choice, and a lot of suffering results from that.
for me to say yes to. I think that's
Yeah, I know
a
you
bit
don't want to say
beyond.
yes to it, but we'll just pretend for a second that you're willing to be honest, and we
yeah.
all know that the answer to
Of
that
course,
is
yeah.
yes, right? If we just pretend for a moment that you're willing to be honest, the answer would be yes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds better.
Yeah, cool.
Sure,
So,
sure, okay.
yeah, so a universe where everybody freely makes the best moral choice would be better
Oh,
than
yeah,
this
let's assume
universe.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and so the conclusion then would be that God doesn't exist, because if God did exist, he would have made the best possible universe, and which would be this one. This isn't the best possible universe because we can think of a better one, so that means God doesn't exist.
I mean,
You're breaking up
we
really
just
bad.
have to argue about, whether
You're-
this universe where
You're breaking
everyone
up really
makes
bad.
Only agents who would
Okay, but I
never
can't hear
be
you.
the best universe.
Spazzer, I don't
But
know if there's some
I think
connection
there's
issue.
something beyond that scope.
I can't hear you. You're
You know,
breaking up really
and it-
bad.
Also,
Okay,
I'd
well,
say
it doesn't sound like
kind
he can even hear me.
Oh,
It's probably
okay.
going to take a while for him to even drop because he's glitching
Okay,
out.
it's back now.
I don't know. Maybe he wants to request and come back up because that was getting really glitchy. I don't know how it's elementary lunch table logic. That's just a sound argument. And that's why the guest had to agree with all of the premises. And if his connection hadn't gotten bad, we would have just heard a bunch of backpedaling on the things that he agreed to. But that is actually an argument that I was working on for a little bit, and I like it. Hey, Philo Dragon. Love to see you here. As you already know, you fucking rule. Okay. Oof. Did I do that, Bames? Oof. Oh, man. Oh. Where do I pick up my Philbro card? Does that come in the mail, or do I have to go physically pick it up somewhere? Somebody will have to let me know. Monkey Boy, that is correct. That is correct. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a god. You know what I think of when I get the hat and mustache? I just realized what it reminds me of every time. It reminds me of fucking Back to the Future 3, where Biff Tannen's whatever great-grandpa or whatever it was. Oh, Back to the Future. Mwah. Fantastic. Oh, he did get a new PC. That's sick. Glad to hear that. Okay. So we'll bring up the next guest. Oh, well, come back up, Spazzer. I was just about to bring up the next person. No? No? Okay, fair enough. Hi, Bear.
Hello.
How old are you?
I'm 13.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Oh, well, it's next to the text box. It's like the pink and blue person. Just click on that. Buford Mad Dog Tannen. Yes, I could not remember his name. All right. Do you have...
Here we go. Yeah, I
decent
think it's
signal
better
this
now.
time?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. All right, yeah. So the argument basically boiled down to because if God exists, because of his nature, his essence, he would create the best possible universe. Since this isn't the best possible universe, then we know that God doesn't exist.
So I'd be curious, how can you assert that that would be the best possible universe, or that?
Well, you and I both agreed that this is not the best possible universe, and we both agreed that if the God you believe in existed, he would have created the best possible universe. So even if only one more good action, even if we said, like, you know, not even the logical possibility of God being able to create a universe where everyone always chooses the good, which obviously he could, even if we just said that there was one less child rape, that there was one less baby murdered as a result of genocide, that would make the world better, right?
Yeah, I think a Christian can easily say, though, that, you know, okay, if we're already
You're not
assuming-
responding to what I said. Would the world be better if there was even one less child raped?
Yes.
Oh, 100%. And you also agreed that if God existed, he would have made the best possible universe. We have both just agreed that there is a way this universe could have been better. That means that God cannot possibly exist. I need you to. I don't need.
I was saying let's assume the premise, and then I go to your next argument. So I understand the conclusion there, but a Christian can just say, okay, we've already assumed God is good. So in creating agents,
no, you have already agreed. You have Spazzer.
Agents, okay.
Spazzer.
Okay, well,
you're contradicting yourself now. You're contradicting yourself now.
I said let's assume the premise. That's what I said.
Assume what premise?
And then the premise that the universe where only agents who will good every time is.
I'm saying that doesn't matter. Even if we didn't go that far, if we just said there was one less bad thing, one less racial slur hurled at a minority, the world would be better. So even tiny little things that could have been different from your perspective could make the world better, the universe better. And since we know that there are ways this universe could be better, and we know that if your God existed, he would have made the best possible universe, that means it's literally not possible for your God to exist. What you need to say is that, in fact, less child rape would not make the world better. That's what you have to say.
So if the free agents...
No, you need to say that, Spazzer. Stop. Spazzer. You need to stop trying to pivot to some other free will bullshit. You need to respond directly to what I'm saying. Your only out from this argument is to say that, in fact, less genocide would not make the world better. That's what you have to say.
So I understand, but what you're saying is...
No, stop. Spazzer.
Well, can I just speak for a second?
No, you cannot, because you're trying to pivot. You're trying to pivot. I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to allow 0 pivots.
Okay, but I'm just pointing out that you're speaking about
zero pivots. 0 pivots, Spazzer. You need to say that this Spazzer, excuse me.
Did not make that choice,
yep. Again, you're not understanding. What I'm asking you, what you need to say is that, in fact, this universe could not be better, that less genocide and less child rape would not make the universe better. That's your only out.
No, I agree with, without those things, it would be a better universe.
Okay,
correct?
Then that's it. Then the argument goes through.
I'm trying to go back to your premise.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the argument...
Talk about your premise?
I'm going to put which premise?
The premise that the universe where God only creates agents who choose the good every time is the better universe. Can we go back to that premise?
No, we do it because, again, we can change the premise to, if this universe had, one less instance of child abuse, it would be better. And God didn't create the universe with one less instance of child abuse. So we don't need to talk about... No, so what you need to actually... I don't care. I don't care what you think the Christian might say.
This is a debate, so I'm just trying to respond with my argument.
No, because you're not responding to the actual point here. You're trying to run away to something else. I'm not going to allow it. So here's the option, Spazzer. So here's the option. You are either going to respond directly to the point that I'm making. So the next thing you say is either going to be a direct response to the point that I'm making, that is the main point germane to this argument, or you're going to say anything else, and we all know that that's a concession because you cannot deal with this argument.
Okay, go ahead.
Now's your opportunity to tell us whether you're actually going to respond to the substance of the argument or concede.
Okay, go ahead with the argument.
I already gave it. What's your response?
Yeah, you said that the universe with less killings, less of these things, is a better universe. I agree. So I'm agreeing with that. Okay, so then you concede. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. No. So I agree with that argument, but I want to go back to your premise because that's the important part.
No, it's not. That was the important part that you just agreed to.
But you're making an assumption that I want to point out.
No.
You're making an assumption I want to point out.
Okay. Now, obviously, you don't want to actually engage with the substance, so we'll just move on. Yeah, we're not going to do this like pivoty bullshit where you think that you can run away. I'm not funneling him into my talking points. He asked me for an argument. I gave the argument, and then he tried to run away from it. It's not a presupposition. You may have just gotten here, Narada, but all the premises that we were talking about, that I'm talking about, were things that he agreed to. So it's not my presuppositions. It's things that he agreed to and then tried to run away from. Hey! I love the fucking dragon head. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much, Philo Dragon. You fucking rule. Yeah, you can tell how angry I am. When I'm angry, I laugh and smile. That's how you know when I'm angry. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. Summer, Lem, even Catholic Thinker. Oh my God, the enemy out here supporting me. Bertram, Taryn. I don't know what that says. Sean something. I don't know, and I feel dumb. Bertram, Nobody on Fire, Poopman Jones, Dan Blackroyd, Eddie, Lem, Greenball. Thank you guys so much for the support. Sincerely, I appreciate you. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. I know, I'm just pissed, Monkey Boy. Goatman, you rule. Thank you so much for the support. Also, Summer, thank you. Hi, Kool-Aid. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 23.
And what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Abrahamic religions, God.
Okay, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Well, I got a few questions for you. I hope you can answer them for me.
If they're relevant.
Okay. We can agree that 1 + 1 = 2, right?
Okay, well, we're not going to play games. Do you have anything
No, I'm
relevant?
not playing any games. I'm serious.
Okay, no, we're not playing games. So
I'm not
what's the
playing
best
games.
argument or
Answer the
evidence for
question.
God?
My evidence for my argument is that we didn't create math. We discovered math was there.
Okay, demonstrate that.
Because
You need to demonstrate
we
that?
we cannot make 1 + 1 = 3.
Absolutely
as
we
human
can. Yep,
beings.
absolutely we can. Yeah, all you
No,
would
we
have to...
cannot.
Yes, absolutely you can. You would just have to change the mathematical axioms that you're operating under. So what you need to do is demonstrate that math is discovered.
We didn't create math. It was already put in place.
Yeah, that's the claim. What's the support for that claim?
The support is that we have to figure out these algebra and geometry.
So it sounds like
We have
maybe
to figure these things out.
maybe Kool-Aid, you don't really understand math. So the way that math works is that somebody will create a list of axioms, sometimes only a few, sometimes a lot, and they'll generate a mathematical system from those axioms. And then typically what happens in people who are trying to make like math that's like useful is they'll then test whether the results of applying those axioms are something that is useful in describing any feature of the world. If the mathematical system resulting from a certain set of axioms is not useful in describing the world or accomplishing some other task, then that mathematical system is gotten rid of. So we didn't discover the math of the universe. All we did was invent mathematical systems and keep the ones that best described aspects of reality. That's it. So yes, math is invented unless you can provide some demonstration that what I've just explained is wrong and that we actually did discover instead of invent it.
Okay, well, I like that point, so I'll give you that. But I got another thing to say. You was talking with Spazzer about how if there was a God, he would create the best possible universe. Why do you think a God would create the best possible universe? Why do you think that would be necessary?
Yeah, because, well, we were talking specifically about a God that's all good, all knowing, and all powerful. Do you believe in that kind of God?
I believe in a fair God, yes.
Well, I'm asking if you believe in a God that's all good, all knowing, and all powerful.
The God I believe in has those titles, yes.
Okay, fantastic. So from that, then the other thing that I asked him is whether he thought it was logically possible for an agent, like say me, for example, to always make the best moral choice every time there's an opportunity to make a moral choice.
For who to make the best moral choice?
Let's say me, for example.
Okay.
Was it logically possible every time in my life when I had a moral choice to make that I made the best one?
Not necessarily. You have emotions.
Okay. So you're saying that it's actually logically impossible for me to always choose the best one. I sometimes have to choose bad.
I'm not saying you not always have a choice with how you feel and your emotions.
No, my question is, when I do have a choice, is it possible for me to always make the best moral choice?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so from there, what we'll say is that if God exists, then he's all good, which you've agreed to, and because he's all powerful, he could have made any logically possible universe. But what it means to be all good is that he always makes the best moral choice. Any being that is all good can only ever make the best moral choice, otherwise they wouldn't be all good. If God always makes the best moral choice, he created the best possible universe, which means this universe that you think he created must be the best possible universe, which means it couldn't be better. If God could have made any logically possible universe, and you've agreed that it is logically possible for people to always make the morally best choice, then God could have made a world where every agent always makes the best choice, or at the very least, he could have made a world where at least one better choice was made than the choices made in this world. And obviously that world, whether it's where everyone is always making the best choice, or even one less bad choice is made or one more good choice is made, would be better than this world. And so what that means is that this isn't the best possible world, but if your God exists, he made the best possible world, so your God doesn't exist.
So what you're saying is it would be scientifically possible for a universe to be created that has all light and no darkness. So there should be never a balance, is what you're trying to say.
No, what I'm saying is that God, being all-powerful, could create any logically possible state of affairs. You've agreed that it's logically possible for a person to always choose the good every time they get the opportunity. So that means that it's logically possible for God to have created a universe where every moral agent always chooses the good. But again, we don't even have to go that far. All we have to ask is, could an all-powerful God have made a universe where one less genocide happened, or one less innocent person was murdered in genocide? Or could God have made a world where one less child was abused? Well, yeah, obviously an all-powerful God could have made one less instance of child abuse happen. An all-powerful God could make one less person die in genocide. Obviously, if one less child was abused, or one less person died in genocide, or one less black person was lynched by racist idiots, that would make the world better. But if God exists, this world couldn't be made better, so your God doesn't exist.
I don't know. It just sounds like to me you're just trying to make it that it would be scientifically possible for everything to be good.
I'm not saying scientifically. I said logically.
That's what you believe in, right? You believe in science, right?
No, we're talking about
That's
logical.
atheist, right?
Kool-Aid, we're talking about logical possibility. We're not talking about physical possibility right now.
Well, isn't that what we are? Aren't we physical possibilities?
Well, no, we're physical actualities. But I'm saying that I'm talking about logical possibility.
Well, you could just go on forever about logical possibilities, can't you?
Yeah, probably.
It wouldn't make,
but what I'm
it
saying is
wouldn't
that...
make any sense.
Okay, so do you have any response to the argument that I gave?
Not really. I'm just thinking about it.
Okay. Well, hey, if you think about it and you come up with a response, feel free to come back. You seem like a good faith person that is decent to talk to, not unlike a lot of the idiots that come up here. So I appreciate you for that. Or if you're thinking about it over the next couple of weeks and you come up with an argument that you think should convince anybody of God, even a hard-headed idiot like me, I'd be happy to have you come back and convert me.
Well, that sounds like a plan. I'll give you a follow and we'll be in touch.
I appreciate it. Take care of yourself, man. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Hey, some people aren't pieces of shit. Let's get a W for Kool-Aid. I like where we can actually have good conversations. Yeah, exactly, Lupine. Okay. Yeah, big W's for Kool-Aid. Those are the kind of conversations that I want to have. Hey, and he actually followed. Thank you. Okay. Am I convertible? Yeah, my top goes down for sure. Base 3, 2 plus 2 is 11. I'm not super familiar, but I know that like different bases result in different like whether it's base 0 or base 0. I don't think base 0 exists. Base 1, base 2. Base 1 would get annoying really fucking fast. But hey, honestly, Kool-Aid, if you just come back and have honest conversations, I'll be happy. Oh, I didn't think about it like that, Bames. That's a good one. I will give you that one. I told you, Daniel, my top goes down all the way. And now I can only think of it the way Bames said, which I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, it's not. I don't have a top that goes down for real. Yeah, exactly, Lupine. Yep. How is that savage? I'd take it as a compliment if I had a top that goes down. I don't think that's a bad thing. Crop top. Nobody wants to see that. All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Mihail. How old are you?
I'm over 40.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm over 40.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I believe just in one singular God, like one creator. It's not like
You said you're
Islam,
Christian?
religion, or things like that.
Did you say you're Christian?
You know what I'm saying?
Did you say that you are Christian?
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God? Also, if you could get a little closer to the mic or speak up a bit, that would be helpful.
Oh well. No, I mean.
You're really, really quiet.
No. What I want to say.
Yeah,
is
you're really, really quiet.
Question to you.
Can you speak up or
Yeah,
get
no?
closer to the mic, please?
Okay. All right. Okay. My question to you is like, what do you think about God? Who God is for you?
What?
Who God is for you? What do you think God is?
Yeah, God is a fictional character, like Harry Potter or Batman.
That's what you think.
Yes.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
God actually, it's in everything around you.
Okay, well, that's what you think. Well, you're wrong because God is fiction. So now where do we go? Do you have any arguments or evidence, or do you just want to say that you disagree with me?
No, I disagree with you. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm disagreeing with you just because you believe differently. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm just asking if there's any
fine.
argument or evidence
It's
that would
fine
give
for
me a
me.
reason to believe in God.
I mean, how I'm not sure how I can explain to you.
Okay.
How it is for you to understand, because he is in everything actually around.
Yeah, I understand what you believe, but I don't need you to tell me what you believe. I need you to tell me the reasons why anyone should believe it.
Well, I'm not gonna say that everybody should believe, which actually, I mean, when they
Okay,
will
I'm going to give you one
understand.
last opportunity, Mihail. I just need you to give me some argument or evidence that would provide a reason to believe in God, or I'm going to move on.
Well, I don't think that is something which I can provide you with.
Okay,
Or
well, I
can
appreciate
show
you trying, and
like a
I'll
proof.
move on to the next person. I agree that he was not going to be able to do that. Yeah, that's entirely possible, Bertram. And it's not my intention to beat up on people or punch down or anything like that. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, TikTok. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Do you believe in a God?
Yeah.
And which one?
Well, I'm a Catholic. To the
Okay.
Catholic God.
And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
To just believe in him or to like prove that he's real?
I'm not asking for 100% certainty. I'm just asking for, arguments or evidence.
Well, yeah, but first I want to ask if like we're arguing about whether he's real or whether people should believe in him. If he's even not real.
Yeah, no, we're talking about whether or not a God actually exists.
Okay, well, I think there is a God.
Okay, and what's the reason to believe that?
Well, that's how everything's set up. Like, we have choices, we have air, we can do what we want. I feel like that's pretty cool.
Okay, what's the reason to believe in God?
that he gave us choices and that we have free will.
That assumes that God exists. What's the reason to believe that he exists?
The reason is that we have free will.
Okay, demonstrate that we have free will.
You are right now by being on TikTok instead
Nope.
of YouTube or Twitch. Like, you made the choice to
Nope.
go on TikTok
Nope.
instead of YouTube.
Nope, that's just assuming that there's free will, and then that those are
Wait,
examples of free will.
is that not a choice you made to go on TikTok instead of YouTube? Like, that's your free will.
No, it's not free will. That's your assumption, or that's your
who
belief. I'm
forced
asking you to
stream on
demonstrate
TikTok?
that that's the case.
Well, I am.
No, you're not. You're just asserting it. Asserting
on TikTok instead
asserting
of YouTube.
asserting that it's free will doesn't demonstrate that it's free will. I'm asking you to demonstrate that it's free will.
Well, I could demonstrate by leaving a comment, but you muted
No.
me, so I can't really demonstrate that.
No, that isn't how you demonstrate free will. That just demonstrates that you can leave a comment, not that you had a free choice to do so.
How does that not demonstrate a free choice to do so?
It just sounds like you don't know anything about the philosophy of free will. The idea of free will is that you actually have the opportunity to do different, but I believe in not only determinism, but also necessitarianism. My position is that everything that happens had to happen. It wasn't possible for anything different to happen. If you want me to believe that it is possible for things to if you want me to believe in free will, you have to demonstrate that it's possible for things to have been different. And also that, libertarian free will actually exists. That's a thing. You haven't even attempted to demonstrate any of that. All you do is you continue to state your position as though it was true.
Well, what's something that could be different then? Can you give an example?
No, I'm
'Cause
saying
I
that
can
nothing
list
could be different. You
anything
need
that
to
could-
demonstrate that things could have been different. That's your
Yeah,
job.
but for what?
Anything.
Like, you want me to, anything? Because I could have not brushed my teeth this morning.
Prove it. Give me a reason to believe that.
I could have forgot. Like, that's...
Yeah, give me a
free
reason
will.
to believe that that could have happened.
Because you could have overslept.
Yeah, give me a reason to believe that that could have happened.
Why someone could have overslept?
No, that you could have overslept this morning.
Because I stayed up late.
No, demonstrate that it was
free will.
possible. Demonstrate that it was possible for it to have played out differently.
It didn't.
Okay.
So how could
Well,
I
it doesn't sound like
demonstrate
you
it?
have anything here,
How
so I'm
could
just
I
going to go ahead and move
demonstrate
on. Obviously, you don't know anything about free will. That's unfortunate. But yeah. Let me check something here quick. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that I did that. Unfortunately, what the fuck? Let me. All right. So currently the only person requesting is a troll, so not bringing them up. So yeah, if you are 18 plus and you think you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God, feel free to come up. I'd be happy to chat. What else? I don't know. I was talking about that book earlier. It's Philippa Foot. What I'm realizing is that in virtue ethics, there are like the kind of like 3 matriarchs. Yeah, Bames. I'm reading what's it called? Natural Goodness by Philippa Foot. And I'm realizing that there are like what are becoming in my head the like 3 matriarchs of modern virtue ethics, which is Philippa Foot, Elizabeth Anscombe, and Rosalind Hursthouse. I haven't read any Anscombe at this point, but like I said, I'm currently reading Foot, and I read On Virtue Ethics by Hursthouse previously, and I just absolutely love the way that they think. They reference each other a lot. Like Hursthouse kept mentioning Foot and Anscombe, and Foot is continuously talking about Hursthouse and Anscombe as well. I would assume probably if I read Anscombe, it would be she probably talks about Foot and Hursthouse. It just seems like the three of them worked together and came up with these just really, really interesting, I want to say reductive. I don't know if that's really the right word, but they take this kind of reductive approach to what I consider in my head to be reductive, though that might not be the right word, approach to morals, or what I should say is like evaluative language, where if we would say like, a cactus is a good cactus on the grounds that, it can process nutrients, it can produce offspring, it has barbs to protect itself from predators, those kinds of things. It survives a long time without too much water like a cactus is supposed to. Those kinds of things are going to be the like type of things you're looking for to see, is this a good cactus? And there's no reason why it needs to be a different sense of good when we're talking about humans, right? We just say like, what kind of beings are humans? Well, we are rational beings. We are community-oriented beings. And so what does it mean to be a good human? Well, it means to be sensitive to reasons. It means to be a productive member of your community, of your society, right? And I think that that is true, Tree. However, you make an amazing tree. So at least one of us is doing a good job. But yeah, I think that this approach, I think, is so much better. Like, I feel like I finally understand what morals are. Like, for so much of my life, it just, I don't know, it just felt like morals were such a like nebulous thing. And that was part of why I held to subjective morals for so long, because it didn't really I didn't really like see any reason, any way that there could be any like set of rules. That's the other thing. I think that our society is so much about deontology. I think that we're so focused on this deontological way of thinking that we are like conditioned by our society to expect there to be a list of rules, right? Like, obviously Christianity tells you there literally is a list of rules that you have to follow, and there's a book that has that list of rules. So like there's a lot of that, I think, and Christianity obviously isn't the only place that does that. Obviously, a lot of that comes from the Jewish religion, and I'm pretty confident that most other religions have a similar kind of thing, right? Like, even like not as like theologically serious religions like Satanism will do the same thing, where they like have a list of tenets or whatever, and or tenet, yeah. Anyway, so I just think that this is like a really common thing in our society, where we think that there needs to be some list of rules, or there needs to be some like specifically action guiding principle, like utilitarianism. And I love this like neo-Aristotelian approach, where we're saying instead that that more morality is about being a good person, like what kind of person you are. Yeah, I don't have anybody requesting currently. If there's something specific you want to say, Summer, I suppose it just probably let you, say the thing or ask the question, and then move on or answer, offline. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Mr. Ogar. Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, so I thought about this theory, right? I have a lot of debates with these people from Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about this one, right? And sorry for my voice, is very deep. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I was in bed, but I had to go out of my bed because my girl was sleeping. But I thought about this, right? So Christians always pray when they need money, when they need love, when they, anything that they need, right? They pray. Is that correct? They pray, right?
They do a lot of
praying.
praying.
I thought about this. Let's say if a person, right, and sorry for my language because I'm Dutch, but if a person who, let me give myself an example, right? So I go with my so-called sister. I don't have a sister, but let's say my sister, right? And she prays when she needs money, and she prays, and she prays, and she prays. Okay, well, I'm walking on the streets of Amsterdam with her. A man jumps out of the car and snatches her into an alley and starts to, you know what I mean, touch her. You know what I do at that point? I go on my knees and I go pray to Jesus if he comes down. She gonna hate me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well,
so
that's
when
true.
I'm using the same logic that they're using when they pray, they're gonna condemn me for praying when the girl gets. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
I think that kind of I think every single time a believer in God looks both ways before they cross the street, they prove that they don't really believe that God is watching out for them.
Yeah. No, but I just wanted to say that. I have
No,
to
I
say this to you. But
I appreciate you. Thank you for being a supporter, and I hope that you have
yeah,
a good weekend over there in well, wherever you're at, Amsterdam or wherever. But if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Let's hope this isn't a troll. Hi, Goat. How old are you?
Oh, hey, I'm I'm 44. Sorry, once you get old, you start to forget.
I only remember mine because it's a nice round number. I'm 40.
Nice.
What God do you believe in?
I don't. I'll get all your hair. I just thought you said morals are objective.
That's my position. Yeah.
Oh, can you just run that by me? Just because most people I listen to say they're subjective.
Yeah, sure.
What do I know? But just help me understand your position, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm probably just gonna drop you down. I'll run through it quick, but hopefully we'll get somebody requesting. But
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
no, I appreciate you as well. So I think like the first argument that really convinced me was the kind of Gaworthian argument that allegedly Ian runs all the time. You know, I'm an agent. If I'm an agent, I take actions to achieve goals. I have a reason to have anything that would help me achieve my goals. Freedom and well-being is necessary for any goal, so I have a reason to have freedom and well-being, and I have a reason to think others shouldn't interfere with it, so that means I'm claiming a right to freedom and well-being. But if my agency is enough to grant me a right to freedom and well-being, then it must be the case that all agents have a right to freedom and well-being. And so then, you know, we would just say that all agents have a right to freedom and well-being, making them moral patients. But I don't have an argument that I really love for my actual current position yet. Did I maybe put one in here? No, I don't have it in my notes. Maybe I do. But the position that I'm moving toward and trying to develop an argument for is what's known as neo-Aristotelian ethical naturalism. So the idea is that morals are objective and they come from facts about the kind of being we are. Yeah, Goat Man, I do like that Gaworthian argument, but it's an ethical rationalist position, which I think is where Ian falls. But I am an ethical naturalist. So my position would be that when human beings act virtuously, it's conducive to our natural ends. And the natural ends of being a human, the things that we are like, the type of things that we are like, the things that are going to naturally be the ends of the kind of being we are things like individual survival, individual enjoyment, freedom from pain, continuance of the species, and a good functioning social group, right? So those are the things, those four things are natural ends for all humans because of the type of being we are. It is just objectively true that we are the type of being who has those natural ends. So what that means is that a good human is one who does the things that help bring about those ends, and the things that bring about those ends are the virtues. So it would be acting in accordance with justice, charity, temperance, courage, and honesty. Like those would be the 5 virtues that I would point to. There are probably other ones as well, but those would be the ones that I would point to. And I would say that doing those things is what moves us toward the natural ends of humans. Free will, I don't know, like free will isn't really my thing. I don't know that I have any like really specific developed arguments on free will. I just don't think that free will makes a lot of sense, right? So like, what is free will supposed to be? Like, I think the typical idea of free will is that it's the ability to do differently. But it seems like there are 2 things that are necessary for actual like libertarian free will to exist. That you are the cause of your actions, and you have the ability to choose differently in any situation where you're making a choice. That would be libertarian free will, what people usually mean when they talk about free will. Well, let's think about those things. If you have the ability, hold on. Let's imagine that you're standing in a grocery store trying to pick out which type of cereal to buy this week, right? And you're picking between, I don't know, whatever, Fruity Pebbles and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, obviously Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the objectively correct decision. But let's say you've already had it a lot recently, and so you're not sure that you're going to get that. So you're choosing between the Fruity Pebbles and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, you end up choosing the Fruity Pebbles. Now, the question is, if an outside observer, someone with a time machine, wound the clock back to before you made that choice and didn't interact with you in any way, and everything was exactly the same, could you have chosen the Cinnamon Toast Crunch? And I don't think that you could have, right? I think that if all of the input is the same, if the situation is exactly the same, I don't think that it's possible for you to make a different choice. And so that's one of, like I said, there's two pillars of this type of free will, and it's you being the cause of your actions and you having the ability to do different. So, but now let's say, okay, so if you're the cause of your actions, right, it doesn't seem like with the same inputs you could make a different choice. But let's say the other way, what would have to be true for you to have made a different choice? Well, if all the reasons that you have are exactly the same, then that means that if all the input was the same, if all the reasons you had were the same, yet you still somehow made a different choice, that means that the different choice was made for something, by something other than you or your reasons or the experiences or situation you're in, right? The circumstances that you're in would not be the cause. Your decision-making process would be exactly the same, but you still do something different, which means that if you actually have the ability to choose differently, you are not the source of that choice, right? So it seems like if we're saying free will is the conjunction of having the ability to do different and being the source of your choices, it doesn't seem like those can both be the case at the same time. If you have the ability to do different, that means you're not the source of the choice because it's not your reasons making the decision. If, on the other hand, if you are the source of the decision, then it doesn't seem like you could actually do different because in any given situation, those are the reasons and the inputs and the, whatever context there is, that's what you have to make the decision off of. And if you're the source of the choice, it seems like you could only choose one way in that instance. So as far as I can tell, there's no way for both of those things to be true at the same time. Now, are there other conceptions of free will? Sure. One idea would be something called compatibilism, where you say, even though you can't actually do differently, we could say that you have something like free will because you are the proximate cause of your action. You're the last domino, prior to the choice being made. And I tend to look at it that way and call myself a compatibilist most of the time. But I really don't know that there's actually a good argument for that. I probably need to look into it more. But anyway, that's kind of the way that I think about free will. Like I said, I don't have a super developed argument on it or anything. Well, that's not a crazy explanation. I think that that's a pretty, I don't know. If you start looking into philosophy and you start reading about these things, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't responding to you, Big Auntie Energy. I was responding to that Daniel Dewberry. He said that it's a crazy explanation. I'm just saying that that's probably the kind of explanation that you're going to read from just about any philosophy book that would tell you about it, right? Like go read Michael Huemer's Knowledge, Reality, and Value. Not that I really want to promote Huemer. However, that is a good intro book to the concepts of philosophy. And he talks about all that in there as well. I mean, obviously you're going to get deeper into it. You're going to get deeper into it if you read more in-depth philosophy books, but I'm just saying that even in the most intro of intro books, that's going to be the kind of argument that you're going to see. Well, that's fair, Daniel. I can't blame you for that. But it's almost 10 o'clock. I've been going since... Oh, put my Discord in the comments? Yeah, absolutely. I actually have a thing for that. But speaking of the Discord, that is a place where we can talk about this stuff. I just figured how to do it logical possibility, like leading up to the choice. You do have agency. Even if you went back in time, it probably wouldn't be different. Yeah, I guess I take it to be about physical possibility. Like I take free will to be about, that's a that's actually a really good point, Bames. Like, do we want to say it's just in the logical modality? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Yeah, come to the Discord, hang out with us, chat with us. It's an opportunity for us to learn and grow together. If you want to have these conversations, if you want to talk about, morality or free will or any of this stuff, I would love to have those conversations. I'm always looking for opportunities to yap about this stuff. But yeah, I currently don't have anybody requesting. Viewership has gone way down, so probably not in the algorithm anymore. I'm not likely to get many more people. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for the evening, but I sincerely love you all. You're so awesome. Thank you, everybody. So happy to see that there are actually people over on the YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for being over there, for interacting, commenting. Thank you, everybody, on TikTok, of course, as well. Thank you for Evan's sakes, Silence Moon, Lem, Summer, Paleo Media, Broken Tree Branch, Daniel, Summer, Jesus, Goatman, Philo Dragon. Thank you, everybody, for the support, for being here, for chatting. The last thing a couple things I want to say before I end here. Remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed, so you don't know how many opportunities you're going to have to let others know, or the family